Morning, Miss L. How was your weekend? Too short, sadly. I know that feeling. Morning, Joe. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. I feel like I need, let's do something else. Yeah. gonna make sure I go in game first and get trackers or Toby set up. Get free 18, I need a fix. Oh my god, there's another reversion of Reshade. Come on. Morning, Harksis. Welcome in. Hope you had a good weekend. I also forgot to get Drake. No! I need to get that. Good morning, afternoon, evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Michael TheDarkLaw, and welcome to another episode of The Darkness here on Twitch. It is Monday, 28th. Final day of the week for me. Well, actually, no. Would it be classed as a final way? Yeah, final day of the week. It's the morning show. Welcome in, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Astro Nutty, Harksis, myself, Joe, everyone else lurking. Appreciate you guys. Hope you all had a good weekend. Yeah, so morning show. Got a bit of Star Citizen on the go. I don't really have any reacts to do. Oh yeah, it's totally buggered up, like. I wonder if you have to, like, literally load Star Citizen first and the... Oh, Brack, good morning to you. Good day. So yeah, we'll be playing some Star Citizen and then we'll go into our interval and then into some DMZ Call of Duty tonight, which we've been doing for the past 2 days. Hey, Freelancer Alpha, how you doing, Chief? Do you feel like the Toby Eye Tracker gives you a bit of an edge in Star Citizen PvP, or is it minimal? Right, so obviously, apparently, that wee kid, it's the only way to lock missiles, like, over your shoulder. I don't really think that's too much of an advantage, to be honest. You know what I mean? That's the only thing you get from it right now, Alpha. However, right? So listen on me. We're getting the new... We're moving away from the flash HUDs, right? Right now, if you know, in a cockpit, it's all flash, basically. You can't really do much with it, apart from pressing a button. However, technically, if you think about it, Toby has the ability where you could hold a button on your joystick or your keyboard, move your eyes over like an MFD, and then let go of the button, or, you know, left click or something like that. And you could basically, instead of moving your mouse and stuff, say you're a joystick user, you could use your eyes to change MFDs. That is the potential with Toby if they implement it in Star Citizen. And I don't see why it couldn't be done, because all that Toby does is just literally, you know what I mean, move the mouse around. Or you can actually get like a third-party program that allows you to move your mouse on your computer with your eyes. If you guys don't know, you can actually sit back and literally just fucking play with your computer with your eyes. So if you think about it, if they actually implemented that system into Star Citizen, hey, Boy and Dragonfly and Wombat, welcome guys. You could have it where you could be using your joysticks, even if you were HOTAS users, and you could literally hold a button on that joystick to move the mouse thing over the MFD and let go, and that would be like the action of clicking it, which means that you could change MFDs on the fly with your eyes and just obviously touching a button on the joystick. That is the potential of Toby over any of the other profile systems and stuff like that. So right now, I would say it's very minimal. The only advantage it has is that it has the ability to lock missiles over your shoulder. But you can lock missiles in reverse view anyway, so I mean, if you just angled yourself correctly, you could easily do that, right? So, no. And some say that Track R has more, like, less jitters and stuff like that, but to be honest, I've been using Toby for over a year now, and I have 10 years experience with Track R, using it in various games, all the way back to, like, the first IL-2 and stuff. and I noticed no difference. Alright? And I would not be able to do the kind of flying that I do without precision head movement. So that's my answer to the Toby. Astral Knight says, I hope SC is a little more stable now. Every time I log in, I'm in a different set of armor. No, it's not any more stable right now, sadly. Hey, Dead Horse. It's just set up to fine-tuning the Toby. Then it's really good. It's also just muscle memory. That's the biggest thing. Like, a lot of people, like, say you've spent 2 years or 1 year in Star Citizen using Track R, and then you go to Toby, you're going to be like, oh, it's not as good. It's like, yeah, no shit. You got to spend a year to get your muscles dialed in. You know, your eyes, your head movement will all have to adjust. And like you said, tuning the settings. My settings are so fine-tuned to me that it literally feels like a Track R, you know? And the great thing is I don't need to fucking turn on an application for Track R or remember to run it before running the game, right? But then you can use like Track R with a third-party application called OpenTrack. And that's actually, I feel, so much better than Track R software. Because again, you don't need to run it at the beginning. It's better defensively like that. Yeah. And then obviously the Toby will kick the shit out of Track R. Because here's the reality check with Track R, guys. All they do is update the software for fine-tuning certain video games, but they've not updated their actual hardware tech in nearly 7 years. So that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a company that just doesn't bother to go any further. So it's up to you if you want to put money into that, for that kind of thing. I personally would rather go for technology that has a chance to do more things in a video game than just turn your head. Like, I like the idea that one day, you know, I could be holding a weapon and I can quickly customize it with my eyes, you know? That would be really dope. That all depends on CIG though, you know what I mean? At least you have armor when you log in. I'm not complaining about that. Yeah, very true. I know a few people like are losing armors and all that other jazz and stuff like that. Like, when I first switched to joystick, I was like, this is shit. 2 weeks later, I'm like, I never come back. Yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly. People are too fast to judge. I watched a lot of content creators get the Toby tracker, and literally within 30 minutes, they were like, this is shit. It's like, you can't possibly give a review after 30 minutes. You have to spend multiple hours dialing in settings, training your muscles to be able to do these things. You know what I mean? Like, an F1 driver doesn't sit in a car and go, nah, this is shit, you know? An F1 driver has to spend years honing their skills and their abilities and their muscles to be able to deal with that kind of stuff. And even then, they have like a huge team that does the most minor tuning to make it better, you know? For millennials? I don't know, am I even a millennial? If I was born in 82, do I class as a millennial, or did I escape it? I can't remember where the start off of millennials were. I think I'm X-Gen. X-Force. I think I just made it in, I think. Just class is old, fuck you. I'll take that though. I'd rather be called old than millennial. I'd rather be called a boomer than a millennial, to be honest. I'd rather know how to pitch a fucking tent and climb a tree and survive when everything goes Pete Tong than where the fuck or how do I tie shoelaces, you know? Born in 59. Oh, nice. 60s. Some good drugs. I mean, good music back then. Millennials are born from... Ah, fuck! Fuck! So I'm classed as a millennial then. Fuck that. Right, guys, I'm gonna have to change my date of birth. I was actually born 1 year earlier. You know? What's after 96 called then? Yeah, I'm now 41 this year, guys. Just to tell you that, I'm not a millennial. I don't class myself. Is it Gen Z? Alright. And what's before millennials? Was that Gen X? Dark Millennium. God, it's so sad to be even classed in that category, to be honest. To be fair, guys, I'm literally 1 year off. That's not fair. Like, you know what I mean? I'm Professor X, that's it. Yeah, Gen X. I'm Gen X, sorry. I class myself as Gen X, and if you can't deal with that, well, fuck you, Millennial. Fuck you. That's it. I class myself as the superior. The superior race. What am I doing? Yeah, what do I do today? Where is Free 18, for fuck's sake, CIG? I just want to play Free 18. PTU. I want to see all the things. Obviously, for me, I'm going to be doing a lot of prison testing to see if you can... So, if anybody doesn't know, current problem with prison is, see all my items here? If I go to prison and I escape prison, there's a good chance that I won't be able to access any of this stuff. Because it bugs out. It has two separate things where all the things that you buy are locked behind being blue, and everything you buy after that, like escaping jail, is completely separate, and that's pretty stupid in this game. So I need to test that one out because I'm so sick and tired of clearing my crime stat. I'd rather just escape and have somebody pick me up. It's more intense that way as well. Plus, it gives content, you know. I hate just running around prison and escape, walking out. We should dispense with these classes. They are media bullshit opposed on us. Yeah, exactly. But still, fuck millennials, right? Yeah, I generally don't care about that kind of stuff either. You know what I mean? I never really think of it like when somebody pisses me off. I go, "Oh, bloody millennial," you know, or Gen Z. I generally don't even ever consider that at all. I just go, that guy or that girl's a twat. That's it. You know, I think that's fair to say. It's better to categorize people as twats than what, you know, genetic grouping or whatever. No, that's not even the right word, would it be? When Free 18 come out? Well, it's in Evocati right now. So, maybe start of December? I mean, to be honest, it could be out next week to PTU, or this week to PTU. No, who knows, right? Who knows? Who knows? Right, let's see. How many of you in chat bought a fucking Galaxy? I'm not gonna judge you, by the way, because I actually think it's one of the nicest looking ships for a big class. And I actually like the practicality of it. I just don't like the fact that it's a large ship that you're not gonna see for a while, right? But how many of you actually caved in? Who upgraded their Carrack to that? Because to be honest, if you owned a Carrack and you upgraded to the Galaxy, that's actually not bad, because you get to use a Carrack all the time until that ship comes out, so it's sort of like a win-win, right? Or maybe you have to downgrade. Is it cheaper than a Carrack? Maybe cheaper than a Carrack. Oh shit. Apparently for Free 18 you're not gonna be able to log out. Bad logout. Is not implemented under PES. It will require a fair amount of work to re-implement. You can expect the logout prompt to disappear as the next build. Maybe it will come out for PTU, but who knows. For Evocati it looks like the next build is not gonna have logout. The Anaconda from Elite. I actually thought it was more like the Python personally, but yeah, I mean, Anaconda works with it as well. CCU'd from Valkyrie, yeah, that's a good way. How you doing, Rimwalker? Astro Chronicles, hello! Good day to you. Hope you've all had a good weekend. I wanted to buy it, but I didn't because I'm scared to buy capital ships because of a long waiting time. So not really a capital ship, and funnily enough, it might not be as long as people think, purely because it would actually be useful for Pyro, right? Any ship that comes out in the next like 2 years, I look at that, it needs to have like functions for Pyro. So a Vulcan would be good because it would be able to repair, refuel smaller groups instead of having to use the Starfarer. Then if you look at it, Liberator, Banu Merchantman, and actually Galaxy work really well for Pyro, for carrying people around and doing things like that. So Even for somebody that would wants their Perseus or other ship like that, I can see the logical part of having the Galaxy over the Perseus, because it's not like we have a huge amount of capitals to completely bombard, and that's what those ships are sort of for, right? You know? But then I feel like the 5 that needs to come out is Liberator, Expanse, Legionnaire, because it brings that sort of hacking, docking kind of mechanics, Vulcan for small repair, refueling, rearming, and what was the other one that I was asking for again? There was 5 I had on my list, and it was because of mechanics. Probably put Apollo in there, right? Wait, another ship. Well, if they could implement game loops as fast as different team though, right? Again, the biggest thing with content creators fucking flapping their gums and all that shit, I see the logic is that there's no point selling large ships right now because they take too long to come out, right? But you can't, you know what I mean? Like the people who concept design ships for CIG are hired to do that. And the marketing team basically are like, well, we need money in this area, yada yada yada, let's do this, let's do that, and stuff like that. I'm more looking at the fact that I'm all for large ships to be sold and implemented into the game finally, but they need to get it down to where their workload isn't as high to do these ships. I feel it's more logical to sell smaller ships that take less time and fill out that need of making money for the game, yada yada yada, you know? But you've got to remember that they play the gaming loops that we have, medical gameplay, salvaging, harvesting, data mining, all these things are made by a different team who don't get slowed down by a large ship design and stuff like that. It's completely different, right? The way we would look at this is like Subway and Burger King. You go into Burger King and the people there know how to deal with Burger King, yada yada yada, but if you throw all those staff into Subway for a day, it would be fucking chaotic, right? And a lot of time you see Spectrum posts are like, oh, you should move all the staff into this area and start working on it. It's like, that doesn't work like that, you know? Not every single developer is trained in every single fucking aspect of a company or a game. Hey, Nikolai. For me, I just wish they would stop selling big ships. Sell ships, just not big ships, because there's a big category of them. We don't need any more 6-man ships when we have a few that need to come out beforehand, right? That's my only complaint with it.
Vehicle selected. Stand by.
We need small, medium ships, exactly, because funnily enough, and I've said this a few times this week and weekend, there are smaller groups of 2 to 4 people who play together and maybe have multiple ships, you know what I mean? We don't need a 6-man group ship or a 10-man group ship and stuff like that, because right now they're very difficult to get a hold of, or people to do that. Maybe in the future it would be different, but I always go on the data that we have right now, and not everyone wants to be sat on the ship right now. There's just no reason for it. If there was like putting out fires, like the engineering stuff that's meant to be coming in the future, yeah, that would be awesome, right? A lot of people would be quite happy to sit in a big ship and play that sort of crewman role if there was actually something to do more than just twiddling your thumbs. That's what needs to be implemented before you sell another big ship, in my opinion. But then again, that's a completely different team. Marketing does the sales pitch, concept guys draw the drawings, and the artists and stuff like that get around to eventually building the ship of our dreams. But I would prefer more smaller ships sold. For everyone, you know? Dark, explain the EVE Online about the bubble that you go outside of that bubble. So there's 2 types of bubbling in EVE Online. There's one that you anchor. Anchor basically means that you eject out your ship and you fucking right click it and you anchor it and it stays in space until somebody destroys it. And you can only do this in certain amount of areas, especially only 0-0. You can't anchor in like low sec and stuff like that. Or maybe you can do in the lowest of low secs. However, The other one is where a ship, basically an interdictor, will fly around and it'll drop a bubble, and that bubble stays out for a period of time. It reloads, it fires it again. Anything within that bubble cannot warp. Simply cannot warp. If say there's your gate that you're warping to and a bubble's behind it, it will actually pull you past the gate and you get into a trap. The other one is a heavy interdictor. A heavy interdictor has the ability to go boom, big fucking EMP sort of bubble appears around it, and anything inside it can't warp, and it can move, and that bubble is, but it goes very, very fucking slow. Or it can change it to where it's just firing that sort of system in a direct line. That's the EVE Online stuff for interdiction. And we've sort of got the heavy interdictor vibe with the Mantis and the Cutlass Blue, but it's a shit version of it. I kind of feel like CIG just sort of threw that in for no reason, just to test some things out, but yeah, that's that. In my humble opinion, we generally need something along the lines of, well, I was looking for a group or raid finder system. I think that will come, to be honest, Nikolai. I mean, we've got beacon systems right now, but you know what we need? We need a contract system. A contract system would be really, really good, where if you went to F1, you went to, say, contracts. So you would go to the mission thing and there would be contracts, right? You would go here and it says, DarkLaw is looking for people to join his team. And you click there and you join, right? And there's not really a discussion on money or anything like that. That would be a great, great system for them to implement, you know? Rep attach, exactly, because we had this again in EVE Online. EVE Online has perfect mechanics to add to Star Citizen for the simplest of things. Maybe not so much the PvP side and the war side or whatever. Maybe CIG wants to do that. But I look at it that it would be fantastic to add in a system like, I need somebody to go to Hurston and buy me some attrition freeze. You go and buy attritions for me and bring them to Grim Hex for me, and I will pay you what it costs plus your fuel and 20% on top of that, right? Just spitballing a number, for example. We need this type of system, and I don't need other missions to fucking go and make money. We've got plenty ways of making money, but it'd be dope for me to literally hire one of you guys to do my trading for me, or purchasing for me, buying what I need and bringing it to my location. You earn money and stuff like that. Yes, people might trap you and stuff like that, but they can make it where if you accept the mission, you get the down payment of what the items are going to cost. This would be also another thing, is where we need to see markets and stuff in the game, you know, where I don't have to go into a fucking stall and go, hey, have you got this weapon for sale and how much is it? And they go, oh yes, look at the terminal. And it's like, oh right, I could have maybe probably looked on my mobile glass and gone, oh look, there's that ship store. Oh hey, right now in a fucking, yo, Freelancer Alpha, can you go and buy me some stuff, please? You know, I'll give you 20% on what it cost you all. Here's the down payment. Boom, bada bing, system done. You don't lose money. The only thing that's lost is if you die, which means that if somebody hires you out, they might want to escort you when you come into hostile space or something like that. Who knows what you could do? But again, this is where it's more player interaction than giving a shit about NPCs or NPC missions. I mean the mission bubble? Oh, right, that's what you're talking about. Right, so when you start off in EVE Online, you start off in a very high-sec security system. You could look at it be like Terra in Star Citizen, right? And you go in there and you do missions and you sort of get used to the game, you go through a tutorial, yada yada yada. And then as you go further down security standing systems, so you go from 1.0 all the way to 0.0, 0.0 being the worst fucking place to go to in the game, because players can do everything they fucking want to you, you know, and I mean everything. And in between then you have the start of hostile spaces like 0.4. But the thing is though, you can be attacked everywhere in EVE Online. Just the difference is the NPC turn up and they insta-pop people because they have god guns and stuff like that. However, if you war deck an organization or a group, the NPCs don't help. And the people who are war decked have to surrender and pay a fee, basically. I think that's still the case. Again, I've not played since 2012, so they may have changed mechanics of it. And that's pretty much it. Now, we've got that already. We've got Stanton. The problem is we don't have Pyro. So you would imagine that Stanton is your beginner, casual player, solo system, and you go into Pyro if you want to get fucked. That's simply it. You don't go there going, oh, I want to take screenshots. I want to, you know, make my montage video of low flying. No, you go there prepared to be fucked. You can't complain about anything else when you go there. Because it's going to be very, very hostile, not just from players, but NPCs. So that would be like the Eve sort of scenario where you've got to play within your sort of levels of expertise, right? And expect the worst when you go into hostile space. You can't go into lawless space and expect to just sightsee. That's not gonna happen. You might get away with it 1 or 2 days, but you've got to expect that sometimes somebody is going to catch you. And you're gonna have to be prepared for that. My job in Eve was the Griffin, and my squadron was always for jams. Yeah, having like scorpions, blackbirds, stuff like that was fucking nasty to deal with. Especially if you have like long-range Webbers, Scrammers, ECM, and you literally shut them down where they can't move, they can't target you, they can't do anything, right? And the great thing about EVE Online is if you try an Alt F4, well, you don't go anywhere in that game for 15 minutes, which is coming to Star Citizen next year. So get wrecked, all those people that Alt F4. Hey, thank you, Hang. How you doing, Chief? I did scouting Eve. Like, that was the great thing about Eve for me, was that even if you could have a role to do, and this is something that we really need in Star Citizen. We need it where people feel like they are in roles, not always the top gun, top fighter, maverick, all that shit. Having somebody that scouts really low, really fast over terrain. This is where, again, low flyers in the future might be hired more than anyone else, because they can go in, scout low, maybe deal with anti-air, because obviously CIG do want to try and get a proper radar system in this game, so there might be abilities to confuse radar, which would be so sick, right? But yeah, scouts, you want medics, you want engineers, you want gunners, you want Top Gun pilots, you want, you know, capital pilots, you want fucking repair people and stuff like that. And if you're in a big organization that doesn't plan for that, I kind of feel like you're going to be screwed long term in this game. Short term? Nah. You don't need it right now, right? You can fly wherever the fuck you want and it sort of works. Recon ships were great for sightseeing? Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Flame Wombat. It's not like I'm saying to casual players, don't go to Pyro. You know, experience Pyro, but if you're going there purely to sightsee, take screenshots, all that kind of stuff that people are into, you've got to expect that you're going into a very hostile space. And we brought this up, I think, yesterday, where it's the same as, right guys, let's all get on fucking Elon Musk's yacht, right? And let's imagine that's the 890, and then let's go and fucking sail around Somalia, right? That's a great idea. Sounds fantastic, doesn't it? No, it's not. It's not a fucking good idea, right? Because if anybody knows what happens around there, there's actually real fucking pirates in the world still operating all that shit, and they are pretty fucking ruthless. So if you want to go into Pyro with your 890 and go sightseeing and stuff like that, yes you can, but just imagine it's the same sort of scenario. Put that into your head. Yes, it might be fun, but it also could be pretty hostile as well. And that's what you have to expect in it. I'm the Twitter owner now. Yeah, exactly. I'm all for people wanting to explore depths of this game, but I generally feel that a lot of Spectrum Reddit posts are from people that really, and I mean respectively, really don't understand this game one bit. One bit. They think that they should just never be touched by an NPC or a player, and I kind of feel like you've bought the wrong game if that's what you're expecting. And that's pretty much down to some big content creators as well that get all like, oh no, don't fucking touch me, and when they're streaming to their 200, 400 fucking viewers, right? You know? They're the worst. They're the worst kind of content creators because they don't realize that they have a knock-on effect. Yeah, their egos are cashing checks their body can't carry. but they're having a knock-on effect where their viewers are like, oh my god, that's just dreadful, you should never be getting attacked like that. And that's not the fucking case in Star Citizen. You should be, because that's what you signed up for. So if you're a content creator with hundreds, thousands, millions of views, whatever you have, you've got to fucking put your big boy pants on and expect that when you're playing a sandbox game that offers PvP and allows people to PvP you anywhere in this game, you have to go and get people who are good at dealing with that stuff, or you need to educate yourself, not have a hissy piss and send your fucking cultist army to Spectrum. Just like Sea of Thieves. Well, Sea of Thieves is I would say, on similar lines, yeah. Like, you don't play Sea of Thieves expecting to not be PvP'd, right? I mean, PvP is sometimes quite lenient, I would say, in Sea of Thieves. You know what I mean? You'll come across other players, but technically, if you know how to, you know, drive, sail, you can actually avoid PvP in that game pretty well. And it's the same thing for Star Citizen, right? Admiral, how you doing, Chief? Competitive orgs are already working on logistic departments for 318. There you go, eh? There you go. Again, I feel like when you jump into Star Citizen, you're like, oh, I'm a brand new player, I'm going to start my own organization. I would highly suggest you get into another organization first and be educated on the game, then do your organization. And that goes for new players as well, you know? Could you explain how Pyro will work, like in the sense of, do we get a quantum pipe with Pyro? Right, so what happens in Pyro, outer space, is basically, if you don't know, they're in the solar system in lore, there's jump gates. They're basically a gate that goes through a wormhole, yada yada yada, and it takes you to another solar system. Woo! Interstellar gameplay. So when you go there, it's a big area, nebula, you know what I mean? You'll go in there, you're not going to be able to warp straight to the gate and jump straight through. You're going to have to sail through whatever it is. And the one from Stanton is blue, and the one in Pyro is really kind of like lightning and red and evil looking kind of stuff. Because Pyro solar system is pretty fucking like hell on in space, basically, in comparison to Stanton. So when you go there, you'll have to sail through, you go through the gate, and you're gonna have to go through, I don't know if we're still gonna have to fly through the jump gate, they've not really explained that, right? And then you'll end up in Pyro. But the thing is, this is the crazy thing, when they first announced jump gates and stuff like that, they said that you had to change out your quantum drive to a jump drive. And the only ship, to my knowledge, that comes with a jump drive, a standard, is the 890. If you actually go down into its main hangar, the jump drive is in there in the center, right? And it's the only ship that has it. So I don't know what they're going to do with that if you have to change it. Because the idea was you would have to change out or put a mod on your quantum drive or something to be able to do it. Not every ship would be able to go through a jump gate, basically. So we'll see how that turns out. But again, that's all the information that I've got on it. So yeah, you'll basically see it here. It's on the outer ring of Microtech, so it'll be like somewhere down here if it rotates or something, and you have to warp to it, and then you'll go through it and you'll be in Pyro. And then here's the kicker though, if you go through and you've got like a little fighter, which I doubt they're going to allow, I think it's going to be big ships only to begin with, purely because Pyro is like 2 or 3 times bigger than Stanton. So you ain't gonna get in your Aurora with your Atlas drive and warp to go and get fuel. That ain't happening because it's so fucking huge, and there's only one truck stop in Pyro. Oh, and by the way, it's going to allow you to kill people everywhere, even inside on FPS. There are some areas inside Pyro Place where you can shoot players as they try to get to the hub and stuff like that. So Pyro is fucking dangerous, really dangerous for players, you know. You go there with a team or somebody that knows like to take you around and stuff like that. You don't go in there just thinking you're gonna be spawning in safe and stuff like that. It's a completely different aspect of the game. It's more for the PvPers to go to than, you know, your mining organizations that just want to sit and mine and chat with each other and drink coffee. That's fine, that's your gameplay, awesome. But you've got to expect that the moment you go through that jump gate, prepare to receive. There's a lot of work in orgs. Work in org. They develop their own academy and web page resources. That's fucking cool. But that means fuck all in a video game, right? You can have all those fancy things. You can have somebody fucking... you know what I mean? Like, when I hear that you've got an academy and you got people training you how to fly and stuff like that, that's cool beans. But if they literally only play once or twice a week, they're fucking useless, right? That's the biggest problem with big organizations that have loads of numbers. You don't realize that you're a fucking all-you-can-fuck buffet, and only you're gonna have maybe 5 or 10% of that organization that actually know what they're doing. So the rest of your fucking 80-90% organization is a fuck stain on my agenda, you know? That's the biggest issue with big orgs. You're welcome, Outer Space Monkey. Because that's the great thing with big orgs. When they have all their little slowpokes that follow behind in the fleet that don't know what they're doing, they're easy prey. And easy prey pays well. And then great thing about easy prey is they start crying on Discord and their websites and stuff like that, Astronauty. Start crying about how they were killed by players and stuff like that, and then you go to reinforce them, because this is exactly like what happens in EVE. Big groups in EVE are easy prey to smaller groups, because here's the funny thing is it's very difficult to knock down small groups when they don't have anything to knock down. But when big groups have a lot of people that don't know what they're doing, they're easy prey for groups like mine. And they pay very, very well, you know? And that's going to happen a lot in Pyro, where you'll have the stragglers that don't know what they're doing or don't warp at the exact same time, don't align to the right location, and they get bubbled. And then as you're warping away, they're crying on comms, I'm being ganked! You turn around and you come back trickling one by one, and then you die continuously over and over again. Because again, this is what happens in EVE. And there won't be any difference in Star Citizen. Because it's the mentality that people, even though you've got an academy and web page resources, and it's not that I'm shitting on your org, every of these big orgs seem to have this, but it's the same thing where we're playing a video game. We're not playing a real life thing, so people's mentality doesn't stick, where they're like, you know what I mean, I'm just playing a video game, I'll just turn it off, I don't need to deal with this kind of shit, right? In real life you can't do that. You have to commit. You join the military, you have to commit. Star Citizen's different. People turn off when they start getting fucked. Oh, and guess what? You can join 10 different organizations, so when your organization is dying in a fire, for example, they jump ship to another organization that they're a part of because you allow them to be in multiple organizations at once. That's what happens in Star Citizen when orgs start getting fucked, by the way. That the people who are not really into dealing with your organization bullshit, your drama and your wars, they jump ship. And you start to go with your numbers, and you start getting spanked. And then your organizations and your corporations and your alliances start to disband. Because again, this is what happens in EVE. When people don't, or people just recruit everyone that they find. Well, that's the thing, Capaz. Is it Capitaz? Capitaz? Hope I'm saying that right. The thing with that is, so look at Jumptown, for example, as a prime example. Jumptown's comm ray is up. Every blue behaves themselves. And they might have that mischievous thought. The moment the comm ray goes offline, they're like, fuck you! Fucking blow up. So when everyone jumps into Pyro, it's not blue or red. Everyone goes white because it has no comm rays in that area. It's lawless space. Which means that the only time you see a red is when somebody's attacked you. So you go, alright guys, we've just jumped into Pyro. Guys, there's a fucking solo caterpillar. Get him! And you don't get any crime stat, right? You don't go to jail in Pyro. There might be some sort of reputation up and down gameplay or whatever, we don't know, but this is where humans show their true colors, that you might be like, oh my god, I would never hurt a player. I just wouldn't hurt a player. Oh, well, fuck this guy! You know? In a different zone when you can get away with it and stuff like that. That's human nature 101. Everyone says they're sweet as pie, but deep down we're all human and humans are fucking evil, like. They're all out for themselves. Greed, everything that kicks in. You know? It's like I can never trust a person that says I never masturbate. Fucking bullshit. Bullshit. Or somebody that says I never watch porn. Fuck off. Jacking off is a thing of life, right? I never trust anyone that says that shit. You know? They're the type of people that sit in a fucking cupboard and be all devious about it, you know? I just kill everyone. See, yeah, again, at least I'm honest. You know what I mean? I'm Crime 5, I kill players. I don't like killing players for randomly, but it helps me learn certain things, right? In the future, I'm happy to kill players and then have salvagers salvage the carcass. I feel that there's my calling in this game kind of thing, right? But it's the people that claim that they're all blue and they're bounty hunters and then you see them killing other players, you know? The moment that they can, because they don't get crime stat for it. They're the ones that you can't trust. That's why I don't pledge. Paying to be cannon fodder is dumb. What do you mean? That you don't pledge? Paying to be cannon fodder is dumb? That's only if you join like a big organization you become cannon fodder in this game right now. Again, if you're an organization that really does educate your new members and stuff like that, then props to you, right? If Astronauty organization practice all the time in the security division, amazing, right? Good for them. They're practicing now, they're getting their shit done. But you know what I mean? But you have an organization that says, right guys, we do security work and we're really good at it. How often do you play? Oh, we've not played in 6 months. Fuck that group, right? You leave that organization. You don't waste your time with that shit. At all. They might be cool people on comms, they might be cool people on their fucking forums, but you're going to end up, like Store Citizen says, being their cannon fodder. And you don't realize it. I want pyro because piracy and violence? I think a lot of people like that. Hey Xander, how you doing? I get killed everywhere I go, I'm not paying for that. Well, I mean, to be honest, you could pay more attention, you know? If you're getting killed everywhere you go, then maybe look into inner self and say, am I doing it right? You know what I mean? Maybe you're doing it completely wrong, who knows? Or I could continue not paying. What's that got to do with Star Citizen? The moment that you've bought Star Citizen, you don't need to pay for anything, dude. Right? Yeah, doing very well, thank you, Xando, yeah. Joining an organization is a step, but the way I'm saying it, Highway Hero, is that you could be in an organization and you could think it's really good for you, but you're actually finding out that it's not good for you at all. You're just in an organization for being in the sake of an organization. That's what the sort of topic is. Search for an organization that works for you for the future of this game, you know? If you join an organization and nobody is playing and it's like a 2,000 man organization, there's not a single group going and playing and stuff like that, that's a bad organization to be a part of, I feel. And you are just literally becoming a number, a cannon fodder, a cog in the chain, right? Possibly referring to bigger orgs requiring you to pledge a certain vessel? What? What organization makes you pay to join them? Yeah, if you're looking at an organization that says that you've got to pledge a ship or a certain vessel, don't fucking join that group. Fuck that. It's like when people join QQOP, they're like, oh, what ship should I have for the organization? I always say, have whoever the fuck you want. If we need you in a certain ship, we'll get it in game, and if we can't get it in game, fuck it. We'll just roll you across the desert and hope that it works. Yeah, don't kill it, exactly. Like, if an org is asking you to pledge for a certain ship, leave the fucking org, like. That's just stupid, like. Because again, if there's any of the meta ships, you can get them all in game anyway, right? You can buy them all in game. You should never have to spend real life money on a certain ship for an organization. That's just nuts. Absolutely nuts. The organization should be substantial enough to get you that ship if required. It bothers me that there are so many people who can't think for themselves with regard to pledges. Well, I always wonder why this fucking light flashes, right? It sort of winks at me occasionally. Again, the Star Citizen can be quite confusing, Bucky, where there's a lot of things to do with the game, and maybe somebody's like, you know what I mean, I would rather speak to... Like, I get a lot of people coming in and being like, what starship should I get? And I'm always like, Avenger Titan, and if you wanted to do rock mining and explain what rock mining is, you get a Nomad, because I think that's the best way to go instead of going for a Cutlass. You're better off with that until you get used to the game. But... you know what I mean? There are people who come in and go, what should I get? And some idiot will go, oh yeah, you should get a Constellation. You know what I mean? There are people like that. Oh, right. Yeah. But again, that's the thing right now, Bucky, is that everyone tries to get people into, like, meta ships and stuff. What I'm saying is that if an organization requires you to have a meta ship, then just get it in game. Like, they should never be forcing you to spend real life money for it. That would make no sense. Like, for example, in QQOP, there are times where I'm like, right guys, you need at least a Gladius, but I don't go, right, you need to use real life money for it. Because I will sit for a couple of weeks and farm up money and give people the money in the org to go and do things. Or we do a jump town, you know what I mean? That's part of the game to get your people set up, but no, people's money are their money. It's why I never, again, when somebody's like, what should I have for the org? You know, what's useful for the org? I'm like, just buy everything for you. Because here's the funny thing is, right? You might not always be in that org. You might not be in that org when the game gets released, right? You have no idea what happens in the next month, 2 months, 6 months, year plus onward. You could be in an organization that you're having a great time right now, and then next year you're in a completely different one. I know somebody that joined QQOP and they've gone through 8 organizations after QQOP to try and find an organization, and they're still bouncing. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's just difficult to find a group that you click with. But never buy a ship whilst you go through those different groups, right? Buy a ship for you. I think a lot of people forget that you can buy ships in game. Yeah, very true. My syndicate is small, so we just buy ships in game for members if we need them. Yeah, exactly, because it's easier to make money and stuff than being like, yo, you've already bought the game, but would you mind spending another like $40 so you can get a ship that suits our need? You know what I mean? You would just go, right guys, everyone into game, let's play for a couple of hours and buy that person that ship, you know? Obviously if it's under like a couple of million stuff, because it's very, very easy to make money right now. I still want a Connie Andromeda? It's a good ship, yeah. It's a good ship. Just get a ship that speaks to you, yeah. It's the same thing I always say when you're going to buy a ship with real money on Star Citizen. Buy it for the role that they advertise it as, and buy it for the look. Don't buy it for the fit, the modules, the weapon loadouts and stuff like that, because that can technically all change depending on how it goes from concept to release, right? We've seen a few ships that have started off with bigger tier weapons and they've gone down to lower tier, like the Carrack, for example, right? And it's the same with the Galaxy. They might find that the Galaxy starts off with size 5s and it moves down to size 4s because that's more beneficial for it for long term and stuff like that. Who knows when it goes from concept to actual design. So always buy for role and always buy for the look of it, because that's, again, even look can change, right? But I know a lot of people that have bought ships in the past because of what fit came with that ship, and it's just like, no, that's just silly. I would like the market system in the game now. Oh, I don't know if we would ever see that for a while, right? Like for me, that sort of requires PES, persistent, stuff like that, right? That's very, very much Quanta kind of system as well. I would love a market in the game, but I just don't think we're gonna see it anytime soon. I think the Galaxy, no joke. So I had that reaction video out, got pretty decent traffic. Thank you to everyone who watched it. I ranted that I'm sick and tired of them selling big ships, right? Because I feel that it's more beneficial for the way we play the game to have smaller ships for smaller groups, right? There's more chance of smaller groups achieving those goals than people all crammed into one ship. Fair enough if they bring out NPCs, awesome, but we don't have NPCs that you can rent to use as AI to help you in your ship, so I don't think it should ever be advertised that that's why it would go down. But the Galaxy, I feel, is one of these really, really nice looking ships. It looks like a spaceship. It reminds me of the Python Anaconda from Elite Dangerous. And we have had a huge influx of Elite Dangerous pilots, so I would imagine maybe it's just something to give them some, you know, vibes or whatever. And the price for it is really, really good. However, I don't think people should buy it, personally. Unless you really, really want it, right? Because here's the kicker of it. You're not going to see it anytime soon. And I just don't think you should. I think what you should always do is buy LTI tokens, cheap LTI tokens like the cutter, right? And then, hear me out on this one, then put all the money you would have spent in the Galaxy into a separate bank account that you've not spent. And when the Galaxy actually comes out, all you do is upgrade that cutter to a Galaxy for the same amount of money that you would have spent, and you get LTI on it. But all that money's still sitting in your bank just in case of emergency, you know what I mean? That's how I would play Star Citizen, and it's how I do play Star Citizen. I don't put any money into this game, any brand new money, apart from buying a couple of ships that work in the game. So the cutter is already flight ready, so I can meme with it, or the Pisces Red, for example, and you get LTI on it, right? There you go. And that's how you play Star Citizen. Stop putting brand new money into the game. Just get yourself an LTI token and upgrade to the ship when it actually comes out. Because it's not like they're gonna stop doing the upgrade system because it makes a lot of money. And that way, again, if ever something in your life in the next 5 years, because you ain't seen that ship for 5 years, right? If you think you're gonna get that anytime soon, you're not. And if they do, awesome, right? But at least if you had that money in another bank account, if there was ever an emergency in real life, you know that you've not got it sitting in a fucking JPEG asset. You could be using it in real life and not giving a shit about that Galaxy. Knowing that you can eventually down the line buy the Galaxy in-game when the game actually comes out, right? I think a lot of people forget about this, that you don't need to buy ships all the time when they sell stuff. It's not that important. It's the same when people are buying fucking Krakens and Idrises and stuff like that. You ain't seen that shit for a couple of years. You know? Yet to come on the drone repair room? Yeah. I'm actually very curious to see how far they are with drones, right? All I've spent in SE is a cutback. That's all you need, right? You can make money, or here's the beautiful thing, right? Here's the beautiful thing. You're starting off Star Citizen, and you're like, fuck, you know what? I'm only gonna put a starter pack into the game, but I'm struggling to make money. Here's a kicker. You go and fucking join up with somebody that can make lots of money, and you leech off them, and then you get the ship that you want in game that allows you to do these things, right? Wow, gameplay, you know? Something that people don't really remember in this thing at all. They're all like, oh my god, I can't get the ship. I don't have enough money in real life. Well, here's the thing. You could just literally work on somebody else's ship. People do offer that all the time. Is that the arrow? Yeah, it is highway. Yeah. With my guide skin. Which I really wish I had a second one. I wish I had this skin, but it was in red. Would be awesome. Instead of the green, the red. None of the millennial reason is going to sell me a base game package. That's up to you, Star Citizen. Alright? Well, I find very interesting Star Citizen, right? And don't take this the wrong way, but for somebody that's quite negative about buying or playing Star Citizen, why are you watching a Star Citizen stream? You know what I mean? Doesn't that seem counterproductive? It's like boats, you don't need a boat, you need a friend with a boat, and that's how you get through life. True. Very true, Minty Fresh. Thank you very much for the follow as well. I don't know anyone that has a boat, but if you have a friend that has a boat and you can go for some beers and some sailing, awesome. I'm not a fan of water, right? I'm more of somebody that I would happily, like, if somebody had a private, oh, we got Gladius inbound on us, yeah? If somebody was actually like in what's it called? Like they had a private plane or something like that, you know? That would be awesome. That'd be really cool. This is like the first bounty hunter I've seen in 2-3 days, like. Hey Drake, thank you very much for the 5 thing. That doesn't work on this channel, by the way, sorry. And that's why. Thank you very much for the £5. And that said, CEO Drake here, please buy a Drake cutter, thank you. Space Cutler would agree on that one, right? Hi, Meinuka, how you doing, Chief? Alright, I don't know the capabilities of this pilot. Interested to see, there's a lot of, like, pre-turning going on here. Yeah, there's a strange amount of, like, Arena Commander pre-turn. Let's see what we've got here. Also missile locked as well, so they got tone on us. How's everyone going? Not bad. Having a chill morning, afternoon. We're gonna be playing some Call of Duty DMZ tonight on the evening show. If anybody doesn't know, I've started doing dual shows a day, where we have the Star Citizen in the morning. And yeah. Alright, let's try some play with this, right? Looks free on that. Now these are pioneers, right? We're playing around whilst we rotate here. We're sliding in. Now we're in a wee rotational fight here. He's gonna spin out. Try and recover a bit. Go. Got shields down, we're pushing with it. Gonna break off, get his shields up. That's a good idea. We'll go for a regen as well. Red's not going through. And they're gonna warp out. Maybe. And there we go. Yeah, good fight, did. Oh shit, there we go. And they got a cancelled warp on that one. There we go. Now warp out. Whew. There we go. Lovely jubbly. Alright, let's move to Shubin, get repaired. Goddamn shield holes. My poor cockpit. Need to learn how to fly that. Well, funny thing is, when 4.0 comes, flying like this is going to be a lot more useful than the typical wiggly stuff that you do in Arena Commander and stuff like that right now. Especially the backstrafe and stuff. More turn fighting and stuff that we used to have. The only thing is I'm trying out a pip thing here, and I don't think it's that good, to be honest. I'm gonna put it back to standard. Yeah, have eye tracking? Yeah, I use Toby. Yeah. You're new? Welcome in. Yeah, I use Toby Tracker. I can literally take the headset off and stuff like that. Afternoon, Donkey. How you doing, Chief? I'm definitely gonna have to change out, I think, my missile system. Even though I only have the 4, right? I got an arrow. I was told I got it because I got the freelancer back in 2015. You may want to see that if you've got a Connie. I believe the Connie is what gives it. But yeah, you probably get it because obviously the idea is you get the secondary ship like the arrow. Yeah, that was reshade. You get the secondary arrow or the use of an arrow because you can't use like a freelancer in PvP and Arena Commander. That was the way that it's meant to be kind of done, right? It's nice being down in your settings help. Yeah, I think I still need to update it. I don't know if I've got it completely set for you guys on there. Let's have a look. So we have it on Discord under the SEL TDL, yeah. Alright, the only thing that I've changed is the gaze responsive. Yeah, everything else is sort of fine. To be honest, the settings that I've got there are actually really good for like a base, and then you just dial it in a bit more, right? If I buy a fighter in game, it goes away. Only when there's a full database wipe. If there's a reset highway hero, no, you do not lose it. Only if there's a full database wipe, and there's one coming in 318 live, where they're going to be doing a wipe on everything, right? Except pledges, yeah. But then you might go for like 6-7 months without a database wipe or something like that. And generally fighters are no joke 2-3 days work to get in, even with a starter ship. Like, you can generally be in an Arrow or a Gladius by the end of the day using an Aurora. There's plenty of videos out there how to do it as well. Captain Barks, for example, is a great YouTube channel that would give you that. Or you could check out Redlear. What reshade setting? Well, I've got 2 reshade settings. So this is my night vision, basically. And reshade is a third-party program that we can use, which changes shaders and stuff like that. It's allowed by CIG, so if anybody goes, oh, it's cheating, you can just turn your gamma up on your monitor and do the same thing, right? And then the other one is sort of like sunglasses one for bright lights and stuff. But I kind of wish they would just add these things in game personally, instead of having it where you have to use like gammas and stuff. Right, so we've got Free 18 in Evocati, which is like a closed-off player group with developers, Highway Hero. Then we go into First Wave PTU, so anyone who's a subscriber, a concierge, and Evo getting First Wave of PTU. This will probably be this week or next week, I would imagine. I say imagine, because I don't know the exact time, I can only go on what I think is going to happen. Then after that, after a week or 2 weeks on that, depending on how well it works, we'll go into open PTU, which is on the test server, and then if that works, we'll go to live. I'm imagining, and again, take this information with a pinch of salt. I have no idea. I'm just going off that I've been here since 2012. I would imagine they go away for work break, they will leave on the 22nd, 23rd. I could imagine sometime on the 19th of December. If they don't go to live then for Free 18, it will be a Free 18 open PTU over the holidays, and we'll get live next year. You don't need to subscribe. No, you don't need to subscribe. You just need to hold the line. Don't subscribe just to play First Wave PTU, because First Wave PTU is always broken to fuck and back. It's a waste of money for that kind of stuff. Just wait till it goes to open PTU, where every backer can download the PTU server stuff, right? Or game, basically. Hey, Blue Max, how you doing? When it will be live before Christmas, it'll be a buggy mess like every year. Most likely, yeah. I want those uniforms. Well, there you go. Well, if that's the case, then fine, yeah. Subscribe now and you should get in then. No joke, here's a great way of doing subscription, is if you like the items that you get in subscriber and stuff like that, you might as well subscribe like once a year and then just buy all the items that you actually like from subscription and then unsubscribe. Because the great thing about subscription on Star Citizen is everything that they've released for subscribers that they get monthly, you can buy when you're a subscriber. Even if you weren't around 2 years ago, you can still buy it off the store. So you just subscribe, and then you buy everything that you want, and you unsubscribe. Boom. There you go. And then do the same thing if something else appears that looks good to you, right? Do you think it's a good idea to swap my Titan for a Cutty Black solo player? No. No. Right, so here's the factor very shortly, Capitas. In 4.0, if you do not have a gunner in your Cutty Black, you are going to get fucked by fighters royally, because we're all getting slowed down to SEM speed, and they're also putting dampening effects on turns and stuff like that. So the Cutty Black will never turn round versing a fighter like a light fighter, for example, and you're going to be a lot slower to disengage. You've got more chance of getting away and doing things in your Titan and just not being greedy and not filling up the cargo on it, right? That's how I would recommend it to solo players. But if you've got somebody that enjoys being a gunner, yeah, Cutty Black would be an amazing thing. But as a solo player, if you've got a freelancer, a Cutty, a Vanguard, anything like this, and you don't have your gunner for 4.0, you're going to find out a very, very horrible truth of this game. That you're going to get outturned and killed. Especially if somebody turns up with a Mantis, and you're in a solo Vanguard, you're going to die to that Mantis. Because it will be able to outturn you. So you need that gunner, massively. When I see people flying around in solo Connies and stuff like that in 4.0, you're going to struggle against a group. Because Mantises are going to stop you from going fast, right? So right now you can go up to 1,000 meters a second, nobody can stop you doing that, okay? Or 900 in the thing. In 4.0, a Mantis stops you going fast. You can only go up to your maximum SAM speed, which will be like 200, 300. Which means you ain't outrunning anyone if you are solo. So if you're in a Connie and you don't have a gunner and you come across somebody in a Mantis, you will not be able to deal with them. They will eventually kill you and there's nothing you can do about it. And if you Alt F4, your ship still stays in game, by the way. Only your character in the ship will disappear. But that changes also next year, where you won't disappear when you Alt F4. No, the Mantis is actually going to stop you doing anything Quanta, Woo Mellow. Which means that you will be able to go to SEM speed and you will be able to afterburner higher over SEM speed, but anything interdicted stops you going into QCM, which allows you to go to 1,000 meters a second, or basically quantum boosting, which is the new mini game that you'll have to play, which instead of, you know how like right now I do this, right? And this is, say I want to go to an OM, this goes in 4.0 flight system, by the way. I will be able to target OM1, but instead of it just automatically flying to OM1, I'm going to have to fly there at hyper speed and stay within a bubble, or I get pulled out and stuff like that. Everything of going over into QCM or anything into quantum, which is QCM and quantum boosting, and then the third one is warping. The Mantis shuts that down, so you will only be able to do like 200-300 meters a second. So again, this is the biggest thing, that yes, you will be able to get away from certain ships, right? Like for example, a Mantis is never going to be able to deal with an arrow by itself. The arrow will absolutely shred in SEM the Mantis. That's a given. However, the Mantis will stop you if you're in a solo freelancer, and you better be damn good, because here's the kicker: is you can't back strafe or do your normal stuff that you do in the game right now in 4.0. You have to basically bring your guns around. So this is where having an aft gun on the Freelancer, or a mid gun on the Cutlass, or your fronts on the Connie or the Taurus, stuff like that, is super important. If you're in a solo mining ship, you really want to hire somebody in an Arrow or something like that to basically deal with anyone that can stop you from getting away fast. If there's an Arrow chasing after you, then if you're smart in a mining ship, you should technically be able to get away and warp away, right? Because they can't stop you from going fast. But a Mantis and a Cutlass Blue can. Pyro's huge, keep mind. Well, guess what, Harky Poo? There's only one truck stop in Pyro, right? Just take that into consideration when you need to go and sell stuff, you need to go and get your missions, all that stuff in the future. There is only one truck stop there, and guess what? You can be attacked even in FPS inside that place. So when you're saying don't worry about PvP, I would worry about PvP, because it's not just so much like floating around and stuff like that. You might be able to go and stuff, but for example, a small ship can't just warp around in there because it is so huge. You will run out of fuel. There's a good chance you could spend a week and never hit PvP, but I would be worried about PvP, you know? A small ship can? No, it can't. Can't warp around Pyro. Can't jump though. Well, this is the thing that we don't know about. We don't know if they're still staying with the idea that you need a jump drive to be able to go through the gate. They've never said anything about it, and as I was saying at the earlier of the show, the only ship I know that has the module slot for it is the 890, where it actually says jump drive on the side of the area. To my knowledge, I'm guessing they're just gonna go with quantum drives, get you through the jump gate. I don't know. I mean, obviously it was pitched when jump gates were first pitched. They said you're going to need a jump drive to go through a gate, you know. But that's information that's like easily 6 years now. We do not know what they intend. Exactly, Onard. Yeah. Again, Donkey. Don't assume that PvP is like, I mean, we've had that Gladius come to bounty hunt us, and you know what I mean. Like, I'm sitting there for another hour and a half, and that's the only thing. So again, it's very what Harky Poo is saying. Like, Pyro is big, PvP will be whatever. I would be more worried about NPCs killing you in the future of this game instead of players, but that's a different kettle of fish. A bunch of ships have a jump drive slot on the wiki. Yeah, but you know what I mean? We don't actually have the module, Cheeky Rin, right? And if you go into like a Redeemer, there's no jump drive compartment. You know what I'm saying? This is the thing that I'm just confused where they're going to go with it. Almost every ship has a jump drive? Right, where's the jump drive on an Aurora then, right? Because if you're thinking about quantum drive, that's not a jump drive, by the way. That's ability to warp around the solar system. They stated when they first brought out the information of jump gates that you need a jump drive to actually pass through it, you know? If you don't need jump drives anymore, there aren't any point to a 5... Well, there is actually, because again, your Aurora will not be able to warp across Pyro, for example, even with an Atlas drive. You don't have a tank big enough to do it. You know? You might not even be able to get to the midpoint or wherever the truck stop is, Harkypoo. So carriers and starfarers are very useful at that stage if that's the case, right? I personally feel like it should have to have a jump drive to go through it, but again, this is CIG, and we've had no information on this in years. So I'm only going on old information that is most likely changed. In that showcase video, they jumped with the Carrack. Exactly, and I've looked around the Carrack, and maybe somebody else who's looked around it recently. I can't find any jump drive area. I can only find the quantum area. So either you have to replace the module out, and it goes in the quantum drive slot, which is fair enough, right? But then... How you meant to swap it? You know what I mean? You jump through to Pyro and then you can't warp because you don't have a quantum drive, you know? I kind of feel like they need to sort of, before we get Pyro, they need to give us information on this. A lot. In the original vision, it was you would have quantum drive for warping around the solar system and a jump drive to go through the gates. However, this is such old information and we've not seen any update on it recently. I just wonder what they're going to do with it. Because technically, if you... Say, for example, you're on a ship that you could swap out the module to. You know what I mean? Like, how do you warp to a jump gate with a quantum drive and then swap out to a jump drive to go through the jump drive, then the jump gate to then swap out to getting a quantum drive so you can quantum in Pyro? You know? Technical overview in the airspace. The Gallius example has a size small jump module. Right, so then it's not a module you can upgrade, right? So it's not actually a component of the ship. Because that's where I was kind of going with the 890. It actually has a fucking drawer thing for an actual module. You never watched do it on Hurston, Cheeky Rin. Go to some places where it's really like purple and has like this really cool vibe to it, you know? Do it on Hurston, because that's the closest sun point, and Hurston has this sort of really cool like purple hue, sort of toxic kind of 80s retro vibe to it when the sun comes up. It's really cool. Whatever they decide, I'm sure they'll pledge for it. Well, the thing is though, if the Gladius does have the jump drive module a standard, then that means you can't customize it, right? Because there's no, I've never seen an actual slot for that component. So I would imagine if that's the case, then they're not doing it as a component at all. It's literally just going to be, this ship can do it, this ship can't do it, this ship can do it, this ship can't do it. That's the only way I can see it happening, right? It makes no sense for a fighter to jump, exactly. But I mean, CIG have done wonders at making sure we've had our Idrises that most people have pledged for, right, Donkey? You know what I mean? Apparently the Idris is pretty much done, but the only reason we're not going to get it is because they don't want spoilers for Squadron 42. Yet we've all seen the walk-around videos of the Idris, right? So stupid. The jump drives will be permanent, yeah. Which means that, I wonder if they'll ever make it where you can customize thrusters, because again, thrusters don't have any slots, right? You can pop them, but we can't... We had this thing where they were going to make it where the M50 had customizable engines, but that got scrapped, you know? Yeah, hopefully they do it a bit more, but it's a shame that they have to go back and redo all the ships, right? Dingo, that's my biggest worry with it. I don't really care, like, if a fighter or whatever can jump through. I kind of think it's a bit stupid, but if that's how CIG want the gameplay, then whatever. I just don't like the idea that they have to go back and redo ships again and again if they add more modules, right? You would think that if you're going to design a ship right now, you make all the component slots for it for the future, CPU, whatever you want, right? Yeah, overclocking thrusters and stuff like that. I don't think we'll see that either, personally. Gold, platinum, diamond passes? Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. I just play the game in today for tomorrow will never come. That's a really good way of looking at it, to be honest, right? Very good way. Husker, thank you very much for the 11 months, dude! Appreciate that. How you doing today, Chief? There's the email, there's. Hearthstone new playground? Hearthstone is yeah, like Hearthstone sort of gives you like a really good vibe to how the game's gonna be shortly. Or microtech and stuff like that. Power triangle over the old system? It still needs a lot of work though, right? Thank you very much again, Houseker, for the 11 months. No, definitely. Keyboard and mouse can do a lot of cool things in this game. Like PvP wise, keyboard and mouse is really good. Flying around generally is good, but yeah, advanced sort of maneuvering, it does struggle, sadly. You do need it sort of like a right stick. You don't really need the left stick if you're good with keyboard, but yeah. Advanced movement like that requires a very precision sort of movement, but do you need to do stuff like that? No, you only do it for fun, right? If you could actually stick under radar because of it, that would be amazing, right? But that's not in the game at all. One thing that I would love, like, One of the things that I really want CIG to do is when you turn off your whole ship, it's very difficult to find it. Because I hate how with a cross section, like say you got a really high cross section, you turn off all your engines, electrics, everything on board, right? Somebody can still see you from like 30 kilometers away. And it's just like, it's so annoying to see that kind of stuff, right? Hey, Skylar Maiden, seeing shoot, welcome in. Did they mention the possibility of collier ships? You mean where like you're standing around somewhere and you fucking go return to me like a horse or a mount or something like that? I don't think that, because I know that's in Elite Dangerous. I don't think that's gonna happen in Star Citizen, you know? Yeah. But what I mean is like you literally can't power down your ship and sort of just be unfound, right? Somebody always detects you. Oh, you got a ghost, Nikolai. Hmm. Yeah. Again, there's a lot of features like that that would be just really good, right? You better stop sending me messages. MFDs are perfectly placed in my eyes, but sadly it's not a medum. Not yet. I would imagine in 4.0 flight system though, the Hornet will come back on its own. Same with like Saber and stuff like that. I generally feel like the days of light fighters are very much going where you'll come across somebody that just spends a lot of time in them to make them work well better, you know? I generally feel we'll see more Hornets, Buccaneers, Sabres in the next system because you'll want some more like damage, right? Yeah, I can't wait for it as well. Very interested to see how it's gonna actually be. It's a shame that it's not until next year. Racing getting a mission tree before mining was definitely not on my... Yeah, that's very true. Especially as there's a lot of racing tracks in 318. There's one on Daymar as well. It looks fucking sick. I'm not Evil Catty, but I've seen it. And it looks really, really good. I have plenty of time to get bad habits. Yeah, I know. I hope the changes just brings PvP back in general. You have a recommended on HOTAS? I would probably say, like, depending on budget, highway, right? I use dual joysticks with Verpal. So I've got 2 Mongoose free bases with the Verpal Alpha Primes, kindly given by Verpal to showcase it. And my pedals are crosswinds. But depending on how you want to play the game, obviously HOTAS does work, but it's actually better to be left stick than a throttle, just because you get better of axis control when you're flying around, okay? And it just allows you to have that finer tune, especially with the ability to 6 DOF. If you were just playing a normal flight game, like DCS World, then, you know, HOTAS is fantastic. Flight simulator, stuff like that. Dual joystick's not really that good, but whilst you have the ability to move around on all sort of axes, dual joystick is sort of the way to go, right? If you're into that kind of stuff. But if you're wanting, like, Verpal, I've got here. To bring this up here. I actually have a... Oh, I need to get rid of myself. Give me 2 seconds. You can see here that on the... There's the left stick. I actually have a Verpal throttle here for more finer tuning. And little dials and stuff like that. Because I don't really need anything more, right? So... That's what I use. Verpal for big hands, VKB for smaller hands. Yeah, very true. Yeah. Yeah, Logitech's good stuff, right? I fly an MSR, do you think I won't be able to fly it alone one day? I would recommend finding a gunner. Imagine JPEG. I mean, the thing you'll have with the... Look at it this way, right? If you are wanting to play this game solo and you're wanting to go in a Cutlass, a Connie, an MSR solo, a Freelancer solo, that's up to you if you want to do it. It's not really the design of the ship, but you can do it, right? CIG have always said that if you go into a ship solo, expect to not be able to get the full capabilities of one ship, right? We don't have any AI coming out to be crew anytime soon, so whenever you're using these ships right now, take into consideration that you're literally lowering the capabilities of your ship by going in by solo. Now, if you don't come across a Mantis or a Cutlass Blue, your MSR can outrun a lot of ships, and it's pretty tanky to do so, and then you can warp away. That's the idea of the MSR, that it was meant to be a runner, right? To run. But if you come across a Mantis that has maybe a Mantis and an Arrow in 4.0, imagine JPEG, your MSR is dead. You will never escape it. You will never be able to outrun them, or be able to outwarp them. Because you will never get up to your 1,000 meters a second with a Mantis on you. That's what it does in 4.0. It literally stops you going fast and warping at the same time. So those gunners become very important, because if you guys don't know, with everyone slowed down to fight and combat in 4.0 flight system, we might get to it in 3.19 for whatever reason, right? Gunners are insanely powerful. In that, when somebody can't go fast and shoot at you, they have to either shoot at you and take damage, basically be offensive, and if they want to go defensive with getting their shields up and being fast, they can't shoot at you. Which means that gunners do their job in 4.0. They deflect people. They might not kill the opponent chasing you, but they literally get the ship off you long enough for you to warp away. And that's where I would always recommend a gunner for any multi-crew ship in 4.0, and try and avoid using these big ships. You know how, like, yesterday we saw Connie come after me in when I'm in the Arrow yesterday. Now it had a gunner. I couldn't deal with it. A Cutlass turned up, so we had the Connie with a gunner holding me back from killing it, right? They were doing a really good job. Then a Cutlass turned up. Sorry, let me get... Imagine, right? So a Cutlass turned up without a gunner, and I killed the Cutlass whilst flying around the Connie. That's what's going to happen even easier in 4.0 sort of flight system. Hey, Mum, say Dan. Because you're not going to be able to go fast and get away from me whilst being able to shoot at me. That goes out the window in the system. But if I had a mantis, for example, nobody's escaping at that point. Unless you have gunners. And gunners are so powerful right now in atmosphere. You actually get to see what a gunner is meant to be like. In space, at high speed, you don't get to see what a gunner looks like. Oh yeah, a Cutlass Black with a gunner, an MSR with 2 gunners is disgusting. An MSR with 2 gunners has the same damage as a Hurricane. If the target is in front with the gunner the pilot shooting as well. But if you imagine you have 2 gunners in, and the thing is though, they are perfectly positioned turrets where there's no blind spots on the MSR with 2 gunners. Because if you start over-rolling and stuff, the gunners just beam anyone, right? And this is the thing where solo players need to start using solo ships. Yes, you can solo in an Idris. Yes, you can solo in a Connie. Yes, you can solo in an MSR. Should you? That is up to you. But you run into the risk of you lose your defense capabilities. You might have your offense capabilities, you might have your speed, but again, under the a dedicated team that know what they're doing, you're going to get screwed. And I think we're going to start seeing a lot more people flying around with mantises to stop people getting away very shortly. So my suggestion would be is prep for solo and have that MSR if you've got somebody to play with you, you know? My problem is getting anyone to join. Exactly. This is the biggest thing, right? And it's the biggest thing with big organizations, right? You join a big organization, you're like, oh, they've got 1,000 members. I'm gonna find crew for my capital ship. No, you're not. Because in that organization, I guarantee you, there's like 5 to fucking 20 capitals already. And if you've got 1,000 people, you need to have pretty much everyone on. You know that there's so many capital ships in test organization, there's still not enough members to field them all at once, right? That's how crazy this game gets. There's not enough people in test to field all their capitals at once. And then it just trickles down further in other groups. So I would always plan for solo gameplay with the mentality that maybe I have a ship or a friend that wants to join in with things, you know? But I definitely feel in the future, CIG should sell a game pack that allows you to get like really cool armor and buy the game for like 20 bucks. It allows you to play Star Citizen, but you don't have any ships because you want to be a crew member, right? I think this would be a really good thing for them to do. Because not everyone wants to be the Top Gun pilot, but a lot of people are interested in FPS shooting, tank driving, all these kind of things. A crew game pack would be really dope, where it gets you into the game, it gives you no ship, and you work as a crew until you can buy your own ship in game. That's a really cool thing to have. And they could sell it for like, what, 30 bucks or something like that. I would love to be a dropship pilot. Well, first of all, they have to sort out those things first, but yeah. I want to solo a capital ship. Again, you're gonna be able to solo any ship. Will you be good in that ship? Would it be a good choice? No. This is where a lot of people are in this sort of delusional state where they think they're going to be able to solo in their carracks and stuff like that. No, you're gonna get a reality check very shortly. Because again, see how I'm sitting here on an outpost and I've got an armistice I can't be shot at? I hate to tell you this, guys, this is going away very shortly when Pyro comes. Because Pyro introduces ground AA launchers, right? Which, yes, can be very scary, but up against a group, they're not scary at all. Because you have somebody that will bait the missiles, and then you have a group of people coming in and absolutely vaporizing your solo carrack that's on the ground. And you won't be able to hide these ships very shortly. This is where people need to plan for things a lot more than they are just now. They're too blinkered, right? Because again, the only safe place that you're gonna find in this game eventually is inside your fucking personal hangar, and that's it. Everywhere else is just not gonna be a fun place to be. If Pez and meshing don't work out, we very may able to solo an Idris. Well, again, you can solo an Idris. You can fly an Idris by yourself. Can you fire everything at once? Dunno. You know? They might make it where you can't change the shields or change power management or something like that. You know? Spectrum will go bananas. Oh, here's the beautiful thing. I'm going to tell you all the kickers for all backers already. Here's with this mic. Right. You've already spent your money. CIG won't give a shit. You can complain all you want on Spectrum, but they won't give a shit. And that's what's going to happen when it happens. Spectrum can go bananas, but CIG just go, thank you for your money. You should have maybe looked into the fucking TOS and stuff like that before you bought the game, right? Good times ahead? Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to get a reality check. The reality check is, you've got to assume that any given time an NPC or a player can attack you, right? Not so much PvP. You might be not happy about PvP, but you're going to soon be attacked by NPCs when they add this system to the game. There's meant to be 9 NPCs for 1 player, which, as I've said, you have more chances of being killed and attacked by an NPC than you do have a player. So if you don't like this scenario, time to rubber up, guys, and start to get people that you know who can help you out in certain situations, because you'll have more NPCs coming after you than players. 3.18 and 4.0 will be a shock for most of the community. I think so as well, yeah. I also think a lot of top-end PvPers are going to get a reality check as well when they can't do their cheese, Amaro. Like when they use their back strafing or their fucking left strafing and up strafing rolling technique to fucking tricord and stuff. If that goes out the window, it's going to be interesting to watch all these people as well complain on the forums. It's not just people that are not into PvP, but PvPers who can't do their cheesy stuff will also complain as well, right? And I can't wait. I can't wait, because here of me, for the past like year and a bit, I only fly around on Daymar or hard atmosphere. You never see me in space tricording Arena Commander, tricording back strafing nonsense. I've not gained any bad habits. So if they remove all this cheese, it doesn't affect my flight whatsoever. So when you're getting killed by me, just remember that you're getting killed by somebody that doesn't use cheese. Space Dad Jedis will have evolved in Spectrum. Well, they can go and get themselves a deluxe bathrobe and turn the lights off, Donkey, and they'll be fine, right? A multi-crew ship should need more than 1 player. Oh, dude! No joke. So when they brought out the Hercules, or we saw the Hercules, and it had the dual yokes, everything went through my head of like, please make it where it's dual piloting. Please make it so difficult that you can do it by yourself, but you could have dual pilots. You know what I mean? Where both have the same feel of control and stuff. It would be so cool. Oh yeah, you'll be fine. Yeah, Leo. Yeah, you'll be fine. Yeah. If you're an absolute sweat, you're going to struggle. Well, I mean, you won't struggle, you'll just have to adapt. But you know what I mean? It's like the same thing as when they change metas. Like for me, they changed the meta so much in Dota that I stopped playing because I was just like, I can't keep up with this shit. But if you're somebody that spent like 2 years doing the same sort of stuff, they can only play around the meta. And they will eventually give up and go and play another game, right? You either adapt when things change, and that's cool. That shows you your real skill, and I'm all for that kind of stuff. But if you're somebody who plays the game, sweats in Arena Commander, you know, does PvP in the PU, and then you start complaining that the game changes, you were only using that meta to be good, right? I've been training in hard atmosphere for the last month. I think it's a great place to train because, again, in atmosphere, it's the only place where you feel the dampening effect. Look, dampening effect where it takes me a bit longer to come back on the left and the right instead of space. I can't remember what Avenger 1 thinks of the changes. I think from his videos, he's very happy about it. But however, he is one of these people that spends a lot of time in Arena Commander. We'll see how fast he adapts, you know? But that will show true skill, right? Because here's the crazy part about it, right? And this is, again, not to disrespect Avenger 1, but if Avenger 1 complains about the changes, right? then he was somebody that only needed the meta to do what he does, right? But if he adapts to the changes and starts absolutely thrashing on people, then that shows true skill, correct? If you can't adapt, you always needed the cheesy meta to actually play the game, right? So I'm sure he'll adapt and be a good pilot, right? That's what I'm kind of hoping for, you know? But again, he is one who uses a lot of this left-right strafing, up strafing, roll kind of method and stuff like that. And there's other content creators who basically full-blown back strafe as well. Now this goes out the window in 4.0 and you're also slowed down. So we'll see how everything goes, right? I'm very, like for me, I don't class myself as a sweaty PvPer. You know, I can hold my own in video games, but I'm not interested enough in PvP right now to learn this crap, because I just think it's really, really bad dogfighting personally, you know? But I'm looking forward to seeing all the people who claim to be good fall. And I'm looking forward to all the people that claim to be good and they rise. That's great fun when meta changes. Because I know a lot of people who fucking chest beat and fucking frap themselves about flying around being dogfighters in 2018 and they're nowhere to be fucking seen now because they literally don't have the cerebral cortex to fucking play this game correctly. That explains why you totally correct me. I had to flee. Oh, was that you, Noctis, in the Gladius? Dude, that was good. It's a good find, man. You didn't back strafe. I'm really fucking, I'm proud of you in Atmosphere for not backstrafing. We got into a great rate fight and into a turn. It was beautiful. If I hadn't fucked up, I think I would have killed you. But I was targeting your engines after the missiles that I fired at you, so I wasn't shooting at you in the cockpit one bit. But also, you nearly died with that secondary warp or whatever you did. That was pretty cool. But yeah, no, it was good, man. It was good. And don't worry about fleeing, Noctis, right? I would have fleed as well if you were doing the same thing to me. Do not be scared to fly away, guys, in this game. Or survive. Survival is the meta in Star Citizen. If you think your KD ratio means anything in Star Citizen, it doesn't. Survival is what means anything in this game. If you can go into a fight and walk away from it, even if you don't kill your target, you win. In my opinion. You win. If you're the last person on the field, you win. You've survived. If you survive in this game, you are winning this game, in my opinion. This is a survival sandbox MMO. It's not about who fucking kills everyone and who dies to everyone. It's about who manages to actually adapt and keep going. The less you die in this game, the more money you'll make, the more reputation you'll make over time, right? I'm not actually on another league, funnily enough, Noctis. My aiming is really, really bad because I don't really perfect it, but I do a lot of atmosphere flying, so I can spot when your ship is going to outturn in the rate and stuff like that. That's all it is, right? But no, you did really well. You were keeping up with the rate. In the Gladius it's a bit more difficult, but you could see when you were sort of running out of Afterburner Puff, you would have to break off because the arrow literally can keep in that beautiful rate circle, and we were going round and around, and it's fucking beautiful to see. If anybody watches the VOD back, you can see it. When you're literally looking over your shoulder and you can see the other pilot in the cockpit, it's fucking beautiful to see. And this is proper dogfighting, in my opinion. When you see people fighting like this is not dogfighting, this is just FPS shooting. But when you're in a fucking fight like that and you're starting to come up on each other on the back end of the engines, or the noses coming around on nose to tail, it's beautiful to watch. Even if you're losing, I think it's absolutely gorgeous to see. It'd be actually proper dogfighting, not this stupid World War II in your face kind of flying nonsense. Space Tarkov, yeah. Oh yeah, for survival. Yeah, again, there is because I've seen so many content creators, when somebody warps away, they're like, oh, that fucking coward. It's like, that fucking coward, in your opinion, just beat you because you weren't fucking good enough to kill them when you had the chance. And you're only pissed off that they're warping away because truly your eagles just fucking cashed out. That's all that's happening, right? Noctis, thank you very much for the prime. You didn't need to do that, but I appreciate it anyway. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome to the Wolfpack gang. If you think somebody's a coward for warping away or being tactically fleeing and stuff like that, you should literally take a rain check on how you're thinking. Because when I see people actually strategize on fleeing away, I'm like, good for them. If I can kill them before they warp away, that's good on me. But if they actually get away, awesome. They get away. They've actually played the game correctly, where they've assessed at the time, like you said there, on a different league. It's not so much a different league, it's just at that certain time. You could have warped away, repaired, come back and killed me, right? That's a beautiful thing about survival, is you can go away, repair, and be like, right, analyze what went down. We're into this turn fight, maybe if I reverse roll at certain times, it'll throw them off and I will be able to get into better rating onto that, right? And that's the great thing about surviving, is that you get to walk away from the nonsense and be able to, like, alright, I've adapted on it. It's the same when I say to people with low flying. If you're low flying and you're crashing every 1 minute, you are doing it wrong. You are doing it so fucking wrong, you have no idea. The best thing to do is raise your height and slow your speed down. And get used to controlling your ship instead of nosediving into the ground trying to show off. You would catch the guy before he warps. Yeah, exactly. If my aim wasn't so bad, you know what I mean? You would have that advantage. That's what I love about this headset. I forgot to charge the batteries up last night. I was too busy. But there, that's it. That's how fast it is to use one of these SteelSeries headsets when it runs out of power, by the way. Then when you hear that clip, I'm already back online, don't have to do anything. This is why this headset for me is always the best in the world right now. For wireless headset. I would love to have a Nova, but I can't justify spending £300 for an upgraded version of the headset I've got, right? Missiles, torpedoes still worry me a bit. Imagine getting to a huge orc fight. Don't worry too much about that, because I think CIG are going to change how missiles actually work, right? Right now it's pretty much just look and that's it. I actually think you're going to have to probably get a pip on the target to missile lock. Not just look at your target. I think you're actually going to have to put a crosshair over the pip to get tone. And when that happens, you can throw people's locks off massively, right? Even in a dogfight. And I would imagine flares as well are going to be using. Yeah, it's an Arctis Pro I've got. SteelSeries Arctis Pro. It's the old version. You can only get the Nova now, which looks sort of the same, does the exact same thing, but it's got a microphone that mine sort of sticks out on the side, and you can extend it out. And it's not the best of mic, but whatever. But the other headset has a bit more thing, you know. Think about Polaris. Well, here's the thing, right? With Polaris, you've got to remember that these ships will have the ability to counter torpedoes, right? Now, you've also got to remember that point-blank torping very shortly is going to be very difficult, Lyco, because if you're to fire a torp, you're down to SCM speed, so you can't come in at high speed and point-blank torp and then fly away, right? So if somebody is coming into point-blank torp and you've got a gunner that's paying attention because everything's slowed down, you also get to shoot the torps better, right? Well, that's kind of like the idea of the Polaris. It fires torpedoes against bigger ships. You're not meant to be torpedoing an arrow, for example, right? So bigger ships, those torps will hit better. I would imagine big torps in the future versus big ships, if you don't have the gunners to actually shoot the turrets, they're going to connect. No flaring's going to help, right? That's what I would imagine. I would imagine noise helps, but if you're out of noise, you need a gunner to shoot that torp down or a pilot chasing the torp to shoot it down. I think you won't be able to flare it off, personally. I think CIG will go that route. You'll have such a big signature that, you know, again, the Polaris is a capital killer. It's not meant to chase after a freelancer, right? Yeah, liking the expanse. Definitely, see, this is how you, with the changes of Star Citizen coming up, you have basically the foundation of 4.0 kicks in, where we have a new flight change to make it better for the game. Then you need CIG to do weapons again. Then you need them to do shields again. Then you need them to do missiles again. And make a proper mechanic for missiles. Not just go lock, fire, right? Change button, lock, fire. Because they were like, oh, operator mode slows it down. It does to a situation where I can't fire now my guns, my weapon system, I can't fire, and then also fire missiles at the same time. You have to swap between the two of them. But the thing is, I can fire a missile in between regenning my guns, and it doesn't change anything. What you need is the ability to actually put a crosshair, so when you change to missiles, instead of me targeting you, and you're in that center area here, so when you're in this area, or especially if you've got Toby and you can look over your shoulder, it shouldn't be where it targets. It should be where I have to get that basically a lock tone over you, hold the tone and it locks. Not just look at you or have you in the front of my screen. That needs to go from missiling system. It needs to be where a missile operator has to have a crosshair and it has to hold it over the target for a period of time, and there you go. Yeah, that's very true. And I would imagine we are going to get something similar in between Star Citizen and DCS missiles, right? I definitely feel this is coming. However, when this happens though, I would imagine you start seeing like a Gladius only being able to carry maybe 4 missiles, right? Or you have smaller missiles that are only good for fighters, and those little missiles don't do shit against a big ship, right? That's how it can go. That's the only way it can go, to be honest, if they keep missiles. They make it where certain missiles just do fuck all to certain shields. They like tickle damage basically, right? So you would have like a size 1 missile that would be effective against a fighter, but it'd be shit against a cutlass, right? That's another way of doing it. I've actually noticed I say right quite a lot when I'm in a bit of a ranty state. Gladius should have missiles for ground targets like tanks. See, I really wish CIG would change the Gladiator into an atmosphere bomber. And the bombs have the ability to be laser designated by ground forces. Could you imagine for a second with me? You're on the ground, you're a sniper, you've got an IR laser, and it literally paints a target, and as the Gladiator's flying over, it's just, and the bombs are getting zeroed in onto the target. That would be amazing. That's the kind of like game I would like to see for... I don't really want people in arrows and gladiuses being able to fire, you know, fucking rifle and people and stuff like that. It flies like a washing machine right now. Stop thinking so short-minded. Look to, you know, longevity in this game. They can't have it where it's crap, right? It doesn't work that way. Can we stop? Alright, I'll do it. But still, yeah. Hey, Pinkosaurus, how you doing? Welcome in. Oh, that was pretty close. For some reason, it was just fucking skidding across the sand. Yeah, the Gladiator is old. Dude, it's got fucking hentai engines. Have you ever seen the maneuvering thrusters on the Gladiator? It's literally hentai tentacles. I showed this to Captain Burks. He didn't even know about it. You know? He was flying around in the Gladiator. I said, look at the maneuvering thrusters when you move, and it's like fucking bendy straw hentai tentacles flapping around. That thing needs a makeover massively. But a gold standard Gladiator would be pretty cool, actually. Like, the Gladiator is a gorgeous looking ship. They need to make it where the turret doesn't blind you, though. That's a really bad thing.
Vehicle selected. Stand by.
Retaliator is really low and lower too. No joke, I wish they would do a limited sale of Zeus. I would love a Zeus. Even if you couldn't fly it and it just was in your hangar, right? That would be so sick. This is why I love this ship, right? Alright, time for me to get some free water. Fuck having to find anything in this game. I'm gonna get my free water and food upgrade by just lying down. Mmm. Yum yum yum. There we go. You can't see it either. There we go. Oh yeah, yeah. This is the best 65 bucks for me as a low flyer. Alright, now I just despawn it. I should actually just fly away and just leave it here. Also, it's got snacks. It's got a fucking snack drawer in here. Just in case anybody has like, you know, low blood sugar apparently. Did you not know this, Amro? That beds literally give you free water and food? Real snacks like they know. Oh, right, you mean that, yeah. Oh, I think we got a drink cutlass coming in. It's coming for my snacks. Yeah, and the Zeus would be sick. I would love to see. I would love to have a fly of the Zeus, because it is literally like a human shuttle, right? Is this coming here to bounty hunt, or is it just landing? There you go. Where is it? Ah, there it is. Somewhere. I love how it's fucking invisible because of the light.
Thank you.
CS in your CRA, you should try rescuing some to be healed by one crimson. Nah. Yeah. If only MFDs would actually stay in this game, right? Or CIG just actually make it where every MFD starts off in the logical state. Hello. Oh, it's in VTOL already. I think it's in VTOL, even though it doesn't like... This is the thing, right? If I wouldn't have been able to do that. Time to go fast, boy. Time to go fast. That VTOL will not help you against me. One. Off to Narnia you go. Oh, knows the trick. Knows how to VTOL. Nice. Oh my god, I just got hit by a fucking engine or a component. That's crazy.
Bogey.
It's my ship! Stop telling me it's a bogey. Good fight, did. Salvage! Where's my salvage? Ah, I want salvage! Again. Gunner. Solo cutlass against an arrow. Cutlass with a gunner makes a huge difference. Yo, Nubifier, how you doing in France, dude? No videos until Thursday. I'm like that as well. Jack's had his 21st yesterday, so he's probably pretty hungover. Did you hear about the 35 years thesis? Oh, where we're not gonna have everything in the game for 35 years. Yeah, I know. Oi, oi! What are you doing, Wolf? What's our time? You wanna come here? Come here. Come here, Sleepy Wolf. Are you sleeping? Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. The Sleepy Wolf has awakened. Oh, the Sleepy Wolf has awakened. Hey Blasty, how you doing, Chief? Remind me 35 years from now? Yeah. Oh, did you just wake up? Are you so sleepy? Exclamation mark flight Noctis. That will show you how I have my joystick set up. We knew about the endless development in 2016. He missed his first island. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I got inbound. You're gonna have to go down. Oh. Secondary target. Oh, another one. Oh, it's a fucking Corsair. No way. Oh, sweet niblets, like. I don't think that this can't be a bounty hunter after me in a Corsair, right? Let me shift to the left, see if they follow. No, they're not changing direction. Oh shit, they are changing direction. It's a solo. It's a solo. It gets a first pass and that's it. Alright. You wanna see how fast the fucking Corsair goes down to an arrow without gunners? In atmosphere? All I have to do is chew through that one shield, right? Go to armistice zone. Oh, it's backstrafing now. It tried to get me to ram into it. Back shield's going down. Back shield is down. Let's go for that engine. Engine one's gone. Into a spin. Bye! Whee! He's blasting off again! Team Rocket! Yeah, that's what you fucking get for buying a Corsair! Jesus Christ! Get some fucking gunners! How sick can you feel by flying Corsair? Eh? And this is what happens when you don't understand this game. He's doing the Death Blossom! Oh yeah, keep spinning, Maverick, keep spinning. When people say the Corsair's OP, I fucking laugh my head off, like. Alright. I'm trying to see if those missiles are completely missing.
Okay.
Oh, it's falling down now. Oh, cool, cool. We're in a jet wash. It's gone. Thunderbird 2 is landing, chat. I won't get a crime stat for this either. And... poof. Elon Musk landing? I know, eh? And this is why you need gunners. This is why you have gunners. And it's going to be worse in 4.0. Worse. Because I'm in atmosphere. I can't go boomy zoomy fast. I'm only doing SEM speed. But you just lost how much is a Corsair to a fucking 900 UEC? You know? 900,000 UEC fucking ship. There you go. So slice one missile in the way in Light Fighter? No. If you're soloing a Corsair, have a gunner. That's what I'm trying to point out, Noctis. That if he had a gunner, I wouldn't have been able to do that. Gunners, what they do become filthy, oh yeah. After a few pew pew, I'm spinning? Yeah, because I shut down one of its engines. So in atmosphere, it just fucking spins. Uh-oh. We're getting hailed. I use two different types. So I use Task Force and I use Pioneer. Pioneer are proxy missiles. And Task Force are kind of like precision missiles and stuff like that. But Pioneer are really good for like blowing out components. So if you're up against like a big ship and its shields are down and you manage to hit one of Pioneer does a big explosion AoE and it knocks out a lot of components. It's really nice. Great against fighters as well, because you can literally knock out quantum drives and stuff like that. It's really cool. I got a good short of a Corsair going Beyblade real quick. Repeater over cannons. Yeah, cannons right now are good in hard atmosphere, highway hero, but when you go into space, cannons don't do very well at all. How is the Herald in atmosphere? Really fast going straight line. That's about it. But that's what it's kind of designed to do, right? It's not meant to be out turning anything. It's meant to be out fucking, you know, fingers up in the air as you go forward, you know? Hard atmosphere is Hurston, Microtech, ArcCorp, and Crusader. This is very much a hybrid atmosphere right now. But the funny thing is, there is no atmosphere in this game, Lyco. There is only dampening effect. So when I say hard atmosphere is a good place to train for 4.0, it's because it already has the high dampening effect on how your ship moves. You can't do the backstrafe wiggly nonsense in hard atmosphere. That's why you never see any AC player fighting in it. Because they can't do their shitty fucking wiggly system that they do in space. And if you notice that, most of the time, all the high-end players that rate themselves are always making videos of fighting in space. Because they can't fight in hard atmosphere. That's why. They use the, I can go fast and literally deflect shots. And stuff like that. And that's why I just don't like it. Daymar is definitely a hybrid, where you have some of the speed, but again, trying to do some of the AC wiggling stuff that you can do in space can't be done here. Some of it can, but not a lot of it can. It's more about, like, certain angles coming in on stuff. But again, that Corsair would have never been in that situation if it had a gunner. The Cutlass we killed as well, who was using VTOL engines, would have also not been in a bad situation if it had a gunner. Because in atmosphere, it's very difficult to wiggly go fast and stay at 1400 range and just beam people down. That's why space in this game is just shit. You never see me in space, because it is literally this funny method that people use to win. Hope he had it back. Brace for it back! I love when ships crash, but the thing is though, in 3.18, that could have been a soft def, right? We might have been able to get like loot and salvage from the Corsair in 3.18. We'll need to see. The same with the Cutlass. The Cutlass just disappeared. I can't wait to actually have the second interaction after the fight, right? Because the fighting is one part, right? Fighting is one part, and then you want the soft def to be the second part, where that person in the Corsair crashes into the ground, survives, and then they've got to deal with me hovering about them, or a drop team goes in and all that stuff, right? You got ads? Well, fuck you guys. You're paying my bills. You think this content is free? Do you think my education is free? You thought wrong. In smaller weapons, I think laser cannons and repeaters do the same DPS, but on a larger weapon, the cannons do more DPS. Yeah. If you're using size 5, always use cannons. Don't use repeaters. You're always better off using cannons, because if you actually connect with that damage, it's insane, right? Thank you, Minuko, yeah. Again, I appreciate you guys watching the ads. As a full-time content creator, you know, and I'm gonna say this as kindly as possible, I don't have a simp army behind me that just drop hundreds and hundreds of subs every month to pay the bills, right? So I appreciate when you you painfully go through the ads, because it does help me out on a huge scale. The difference between hard atmosphere and space is why I practice a hybrid style. Yeah. Again, space is about to get a reality check where you won't be able to do it. I don't want to moan, but I want to use size 6 usable in game again. Dude, we've never had size 6 in the game. You're talking about size 5. Size 5 should be... Right, so here's my prediction. I think Vanguards are very much going to be back on the menu. Especially like Sentinels and stuff like that. Or Harbingers as well. Harbingers for 4.0 are really, really good. And I'll tell you why. Because if you take the launchers off the top of the Harbinger, you get 2 size 3 gunner, right? And you have the size 5 cannon. So you literally have the ability to cannon, fire off a decent amount of missiles, but that gunner literally prevents fighters from getting close to you. I think it's going to be really, really good. Oi! What you doing? Don't give me that look, Nix. Don't give me that look. You are far too young at 13 weeks old to even be able to give me a look of disgust like that. I would accept that from Nova. Are you Turbo? You might have an ad blocker as well. I heard Starfarer had them back in the day. No, Starfarer Gemini has 2 size 5s. It's never had size 6. Mordors. We've never had size 6 in the game. Ever. They're in the game where you can buy them, but we've never had a ship that can fit them. The Ares was the first above size 5 with its size 7. I seen the size 6 had... Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, we actually have... I think we've got the size 8 repeater, wherever it is. I think it's in the files. If not, it goes to size 6, yeah. Get a boob job and that will change. I know, man. I know. Imagine... Right, hear me out on this, guys. Imagine if I was born a female. I had a beard, I was bald, but I had big boobies. You know? You guys would be rock hard right now. You'd just be in the element, right? Smash! Yeah. I give a lot of credit to... There are some female streamers that have really, really good content, but then there are a lot of times where you just see, sadly, women, you know, doing other things to get their money, right? And then they disappear. Like they stream for like a year and then they disappear and they're gone, right? They've made their money. They just disappear, right? I think that's such a bad thing, because then it goes down to where a lot of people will start looking like that to allow women on streaming, and that shouldn't be the case, right? Getting OnlyFans started. Yeah, it's kind of like that situation where it's like, you know, once you start seeing that, a lot of people start having opinions on that kind of stuff. All you need is a pool, to be fair. Well, to be honest, like, I've got nothing against pool streaming. There's a content creator, Aurora Star, who used to stream a lot in Warframe, and she also came and played a bit for a couple of weeks in Star Citizen. She's an absolutely lovely lady, right? But bills need to be paid, and she has one hell of a booty asset, and she went to Hot Tub and she's now making 5 times what she was making on Warframe. Do we judge that? No. Bills need to be pilled, you know? I only follow two women, Aurelia and Animation. Are you talking about Anna? I don't know who Annie... God, I can't even fucking read that word correctly. Holy shit. Yeah, I've never heard of that one. If you're talking about Anna from Star Citizen, then yeah. Sell pictures of your bald head? Dude, I wonder if actually somebody would buy that, right? As long as there's a market for it, yeah. Like, these women are doing nothing wrong, right? They're making money from people who want to give them money. I found it funny when, like, I follow, Amarath. I think she's highly intelligent with what she does. She makes a lot of money, and she puts a crazy amount of hours in, like 14 hours a day. And I found it funny when she came out, she had a husband and all that stuff like a couple of weeks ago or a month ago, and there was some guy on Reddit goes, it was a tweet, I sent you 1,000 tier 3 subs and now I found out you've got a husband, I want my money back. I'm like, you fucking sucker, like, you absolute sucker. You think you can just flood women with subs and they're gonna fucking sleep with you? Do you really think that's gonna happen? Like, I think that's the perfect karma, right? 1,000 tier 3 subs. I mean, shit, I can't, like, I'm really bad at maths. Let's fucking do the maths on this, right? So we're at fucking, what, 29.99 times 1,000, right? It's fucking crazy. So even if Amarath got no, divided by 2, right? That's an easy clap. Easy clap from one viewer, even if she got 50%, but I'm pretty sure she'll get the 70%. But even if she got 50%, she still walks away with 14k from one dude that wanted to just sleep with her, right? Or whatever, you know, whatever goes on in the head, right? Fuck, and this is why, you know that she makes nearly 1.5 million a month. She makes like $1 million in her hand a month. And everyone goes, oh, she's so bad for streaming. Who the fuck cares when you're making $1 million a month? You know what I mean? Smart woman, smart woman. I got nothing but respect for somebody like Amarath, who plays the game, you know? She doesn't need to sleep with anyone. She doesn't need to do anything. She's just literally milking the titties of people that just want to throw money at, right? Asmongold's pretty smart as well. Like, it's amazing. Asmongold lives like, and this is no offense to Asmongold, he'd probably say the same thing. He lives in a shithouse. He's minimalistic. He doesn't care about things, but he's banking in all that money. You know, he could literally stop doing streaming and never need to worry about things. That's smart play, right? If you don't need to have expensive cars, and I actually think he's got quite an expensive car, but you know what I mean? He's in an environment that suits him down to a T, you know? Asmongold has luscious hair. Yeah, he actually looks a lot better with long hair than short, right? Amarath could do that as well. She could stop. That's the thing, right? She has a huge amount of money. She could easily stop, pay for all her horses, all her lifestyle, and it would never change, right? But she still clocks in 14 hours a day, guys, right? Take that into consideration. 14 hours a day. And she doesn't need to do it. So you also have to look at that is, why does she do it? You know? Maybe she actually enjoys her job. And the money is just, you know, what she gets from it, you know? She knows her time is limited, yeah, but she also doesn't live in extreme boundaries, right? A house, she has a couple of horses or something like that, you know? Doesn't have an extravagant lifestyle, doesn't have like $1 million plazas that need to be paid for, so I kind of feel like she could stop and she'd be set for life, right? She could have a very comfortable life, a very, very comfortable life, and be happy. But sometimes you have to look at it that it's the same with workaholics, that maybe her work that she does is what keeps her going. I know a lot of people who retire and within 5 years of retiring they die because they're not working, they're not doing stuff, you know? A lot of old people retire and they pass away way shorter than they would have if they had kept working, because they just get lethargic and bored and they just slowly degrade, right? Well, her husband's apparently meant to be abusive and stuff like that, Metroid. That's why she came out, she had a husband. Like, he's meant to be quite a fucking nut job, right? Yeah. I don't know, Secret Wars. Again, I don't really care about people's, you know, if you're in a bad, hostile relationship and you're staying just because of the money, I kind of feel like you could do better, right? See, this is the thing Amref could do. Amref could stop and just give all the money to her husband, right? Set up a few things, because she's got, you know, friends in high places. Set up something for her, do it for a year, and she'd be back on top, right? And fuck the husband. Like, there's no money worth to stay in an abusive relationship. There just isn't. Especially as she is somebody that could literally go off for a year, do her thing, come back, and she'd still be fucking amazing, you know? I retired at 29, I'm 44 now. Well, that's good for you to retire at 29. Holy shit. I would love to be able to do that. Actually, no. Like, for me, I wish, like, again, I'm a very basic person. I make enough money to pay the bills. I have great companies like Virpil, Toby, Monster Tech, all that stuff that provide me with the tools to do the job. Yes, I would like a little bit more money to put into the bank kind of thing, but I'm at that stage where I could do this for the rest of my life. I enjoy my job, even though it's a crazy amount of hours for such little pay, but I kind of feel more free than I've ever been free, you know? I live rural, minimalistic, and yeah, thanks to you amazing guys, I get the bills paid for me. If I made $1 million a month, I would work 1 month. I don't know about that, like. So we've got Nova. If you do exclamation mark Instagram, you can see the dogs on Instagram. But in October, we lost my eldest dog, Luna. She passed away at 9 years because she had a tumor on her bladder, and I just wasn't willing to go through the operation to risk her like that. So we put her down when she was at her top, sort of. And Nyx is the next one in, because I always have two. I was actually willing to go for one, but Nova, my eldest now, he was showing signs that he needed a companion. I know, Verse Warrior, yeah. Thank you, Captain Creep, for the 11 months, dude. Appreciate that. 1 more month to becoming a Neon Wolf. Work 2 months, throw $1 million in the bank, and live off the interest, and blow the other $1 million toys. No. If you were earning $1 million, you would do a year, right? Seriously, if you were earning $1 million a year, you would, $1 million a month. You would go and work 12 months, get yourself a nice house, put 5-6 million in the bank, so you just keep on that interest train, and then have a few toys, but you never go over the boundary. You don't go and get yourself like a 6 million fucking plaza house, because you can go to another state or another area, get the same size of house for like half the price, right? And just get a fucking chauffeur to drive you in. That's how you do it. But if I have like over 10 million, why would I be working for some company? No, I would, again, I'm looking at it, if you're making $1 million a month, you do it for 12 months. 1 year is nothing in your life, and then you're set for the rest of your life. You know? Even 1 million would set a lot of people, but you might as well make it where if you're getting that money, do it for a bit longer and then have that interest train, right? Forest property, small house, good internet, the dream, yeah. I would love, no joke, I would love to sell my house later down in life and literally just sit in like a log cabin, a really nice log cabin in the middle of the forest, satellite internet, you know, maybe it takes like 2 hours to drive into a city or something like that, maybe a bit longer, and that's it. Just loads of huskies living off the land. I would love that. And the only reason I need the internet is to basically come online and rant to you guys. I'd give my money to Chris Roberts, give him 10 mil, drop the fuck out. It'd be kind of cool if we were actually getting shares in CIG for backing Star Citizen, you know? Even a small share, just in case the game pops up and you're like, oh yeah, I spent $1,000 on Star Citizen, now I'm 10 deep, you know? Don't even start that shit. You know that a lot of people think that way though, eh? They're all like, yeah, I will, I've backed Star Citizen, so I have a major say in the game. Yeah, more problems, yeah, exactly. I put in dividend stocks that pay monthly and get like 10... Well, the thing is though, like, if you're sitting on 10 million, you got a minimalistic life, dead horse, you know what I mean? Yeah, more is good in a way, but I would be happy just putting like 5 in a nice high interest bank and, you know, living off that afterwards, you know? Unless you're doing something crazy with it, like you're, I don't know. The concert memes comes in fast into your accounts? Yeah. Imagine the backers will get some sort of, well, we do get that every, so we got the 100 million. Yeah, buy a sim rig. Yeah, that would definitely be the case if I was earning that money. Yeah. We got, I think we got an emblem thing, 100 million backers, and 2 million or 200 million or whatever it is. They do give us items. We've got the war bond as well. If you guys don't know, they gave us early backers a war bond, right? And apparently, I don't know if this is still the case, but when it came out, the rumor was, and this was leaked from inside CIG, the rumor was the war bond eventually would be able to be sold in-game for UEC, or something like that. I doubt that's ever going to be the case, but obviously there are small little trinkets that you can get over time by being an early backer in Star Citizen. If anything, a collectible, right? If you're just buying with what you have in interest, the bank is buying all your shit. Probably, yeah. Again, like if you got a minimalist, like Secret Wars, why'd you care? Or would you care, you know what I'm saying? I would love to be in that situation to find out for myself. I'd love to literally just have money in a bank and it makes enough money for me to do my daily stuff, right? Without a care. I would stream so much more if that was the case. I'd be buzzing. Can we get free 18, please? I generally think when the PTU patch comes out, testing salvaging, and I mean what I'm wanting to do is basically just get loads of people to come to Daymar, and we're gonna kill your ships, and we're gonna salvage, maybe get 1 or 2 salvagers in, and see how much money you can actually make from different ships being killed. And also test prison. I think that's all I have on my list. Because I don't really care about SBK changes. Because I don't really care about hacking off my crime stat. If it was day trading and racking in, I don't know where I would stop. So, compounding, yeah, very true. Oh, I know. Merchantman. I'm looking forward to that ship. There's a lot of people that are interested in banner merchantments. How often do ads play? If you're subscribed, never. We'll just whack this down again. There we go, you know. You gotta remember that, like, with ads, as much as it's a thing that people don't enjoy, I don't like running ads. But again, my life isn't free, you know. I think it would be better to turn yourself in when done for SE. Yeah. Right, so Verse Warrior, I think what's gonna happen is either this week or next week we could potentially see a finalized Evocati patch. Then if it's next week, obviously we're into December. I have a feeling we're not going to see a Free 18 live this year. I think we'll see an open PTU. Because unless something magically fucking happens, I don't think it will ever go past that stage. We only have like 5 weeks left before or 4 weeks, sorry, before they go on holiday, right? So I'm pretty convinced at this stage that we won't get Free 18 live this year. Same, Freaky, yeah. Or like in YouTube, where if you get the ad, you can just press the timeline and you can quickly go back to see what I said and then press live to catch up, you know? But Twitch has such primitive viewing systems. I've seen that on one of those lottery winners shows, buddy, like 50 million in the bank and spent 100k and waits 3 days for interest. That for minute pays and pay back the 100k spent. So you gotta have a fair sum to be able to do that. Yeah, but that's 100k, dude. I don't need to spend 100k every fucking 3 days. I mean, I could. No joke, I could probably spend 100k every 3 days, but if I'm living just an off-grid sort of life, no, 100k is like double what I need a year, right? Those Twitch ads would not... Yeah, sorry, I've read that one, man. Can you suggest me a budget Hojas or to get started? If low price Capadas, Thrustmaster T16000 is probably the best at the lowest price. It does left and right hand because they're omnidextrous. If you've got a little bit more to spend and you're going into sort of the $100 per joystick or more, you could try VKB. The ones I use are Verpal, which are a lot more expensive, but they're more classed as N tier, whatever you want to call it. $30 food and drink, 1,000 a month rent, lasts so long with that kind of money. Same dude. I'm very minimalistic. Like literally, I buy. I don't know if you guys get them in America or other countries. Fruit of the Loom T-shirts. I buy like 10 black T-shirts a year, and that's it. Right? I wash the shit out of them. And then fucking, you know, take them to a charity store and then just buy another 10-pack, and that's it. It's the same with socks. Socks, boxer shorts, I don't buy anything fancy, I just literally get what fits. Socks, do it every year. At the start of the year, January or February, replace everything, give everything to charity. Well, apart from socks, you're not meant to do that, but there you go. And that's all I buy. These t-shirts here, Sneak provide, right? And that's my life. I've literally got two pairs of trousers, right? And just rotate it. I'm so minimalistic when it comes to clothing. I don't like fancy clothes. Unless it's a fancy suit, but I don't go out enough to justify a suit. Last year I bought a t-shirt but donated CIG a few thousand. Hey, well, charity's required, Orbital. You know, there are some rich people that are like that Verse Warrior, where literally they wear their shirts and ties, boxer shorts and socks once, and then they bin them. They don't take them to a charity store, they bin them. And they've got that much money that they do that. I kind of feel that's pretty disgusting, to be honest. Like, fair enough, if you got the money to do it every day, but take them to a charity store, you know? One-use clothing could go to somebody who doesn't have the money to do it, right? Fuck, if you got that money, pay somebody to pick up the bags. I'm pretty sure a charity store would pick up a bag full of fucking one-day used fucking shirts, right? But again, sometimes money changes people, where the more you have, the more of an asshole you become. Yeah, I'm like that dead horse as well. I don't buy branded clothing. I always look for discounts as well. Like if I'm gonna buy one pair of trousers, I try and get the other one at 50% off. And I'll buy like 2 years old fucking versions, right? So they come out in the shops and then 2 years later I'll buy them because they'll be like 20 bucks for 2 pairs. And they do everything that they need me to do. Like, it's the same with hiking boots. I don't own any trainers, right? I've got a pair of trainers that I just use for when I'm in the house, right? But every other situation, I buy a pair of hiking boots, and they're my everyday shoes, boots, hiking boots, all that stuff. Because it's easier for me to just buy one pair and get used to it than have a different type of shoes and stuff. Go back to cheap stuff, yeah. And it's not that I'm out of pocket, it's just I don't like spending a lot. I would rather spend money on good food than clothing that, yeah, make you feel good, but you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really serve anything else apart from that. I'd rather have a nice warm belly than fancy fucking designer trousers and shoes and stuff like that. And again, even if I had the money, I wouldn't change. Because I would just have more fancier food. No joke, if I was a millionaire, I'd probably be massively obese. I would be having some gourmet chicken. Organic bread. Fucking instead of rice bowls, man. I'm saving up for an apartment, don't care about cars and stuff. You know, the funny thing is that you shouldn't actually buy a house these days. You're actually smarter to rent and put all your money in liquid bank, that's it. Having a house asset or an apartment asset is a bit of actually a bad thing these days with how the market is. Yeah. You would probably have more huskies. Oh, if I had a lot more money. Oh yeah. I've always said that if I won like 20, 30 million on the lottery, I wouldn't stream Star Citizen as much, but I would create like a sanctuary for huskies and stuff like that. I moved to Eastern Europe and I'm working remote. Again, when you don't have an asset, you can go wherever you want, right? You want to live in Romania or live in, what's it called? America, Scotland, wherever, right? As long as you have the ability to like pack up your things, that's the great thing about renting, is you can just go to a different place every 6 months or something. And you still have all your assets intact, you just have to move. Also, caravan stuff, like a lot of people now, instead of buying house assets, they're actually buying land and living in like, you know, mobile homes kind of stuff, because it pays, you save so much money if you do that. Like your living costs go right down and stuff. Van life, yeah, a lot of people are doing van life right now. Because they look at it that they can put like $1,000 in the bank every month and still have the ability to eat and stuff. Seen a lot of videos on YouTube how to do your own thing. Tiny home shipping container. Yeah, it's funny how people transform that stuff. I was watching a video on YouTube of this guy where he bought a bit of land. I think it's in America, going by his accent. And he lives in like this wooden cabin thing. It's got his gaming computer, everything. He's got off-grid water, that he gets from rainwater, stuff like that, and then he's saving up for solar panels and stuff. And he's just living rural, like a lot of land for people to do that, you know. Yeah, Romania is actually meant to be really, really good for getting like land and estates and stuff like that. Park a caterpillar? Yeah, it's true. Well, when I was doing dog behavior stuff in Edinburgh, before I moved to be a content creator 4 years ago, my office was in a container because it was just so much easier to bring a container in, refurb inside it, you know, make it lovely and warm and everything, and it was awesome, man. Plus, like really fucking hard to get into those buggers, especially when they've got the steel doors. You need a full-on cutter to get in. The money you earn off houses in the southeast is ridiculous, dude. Trust me. Well, that's different story, right? Different places, right? If you have assets in, say, London, right? You're gonna make that money. That's a given. But if you're in like places like Aberdeen or something like that in Scotland, you don't make as much money for the size of house that you're going on. You make a lot less. So these places are actually better off where you just rent and save a lot more money for the future. I have 3 houses now, 2 rentals are mine. None are fancy by any means, but because of lower interest rate when bought and home prices going up, I've made a ton in equity. I absolutely wouldn't be advising people not to buy a home. Plan is to keep putting equity. Yeah, I know, but again, that's what you have on the facts right now, Pingosaurus, right? Have you not noticed that the world is kind of going to shit recently, you know? People are struggling to pay for food, right? Take that into consideration. A lot of people are struggling to pay for food, so instead of worrying about trying to buy a property, rent, save, feed yourself well, heat yourself well, and then if you ever get the chance of buying a house, something like that, yeah. But buying a house or focusing on buying a house right now is not the idea. Not a good idea. Because everything can collapse. Your free houses could literally fucking shit a brick. You just don't know these things right now. You might have all those assets and literally nothing in the future. You have no idea how things can go. And currently, as the world as it stands, you're best to be liquid right now. But if you're in a good situation where you own your houses and you're making money off it, then yeah, fair enough. But not everyone has free properties. Right? Some people are struggling to heat and feed their rented accommodation right now because they're putting so much money in the bank to try and get their own place. Not that I'm saying don't buy a house. If you're in the situation where you can buy a house, then yeah, you spend your money on whatever. But the focus should be is if you are struggling to feed and do all these other things, saving up for a house is not priority right now. The cockpit view, yeah, it's difficult. It's good when it's like in space or something like that, but for atmosphere combat, the blade does can like give a lot of blind spots. Well, that's the US. I'm looking at like Scotland, you know, because obviously I'm not educated in every single country. But definitely in Scotland, you don't want to buy a property. You want to rent and make sure that you're good. And if you have the ability to put money into a property in the future, then of course, yeah, but, you know. There we go. There's a point that, from another side of the table, Pink Source, what Graphics just said. his mortgage has gone up £400 in the past 6 months. That's £400 that could have been, or, you know, the total amount could have been in pocket by just renting. Sometimes it works for people, but majority of the time right now, it's crazy to fucking buy your first property, basically. If you can buy the property outright, awesome. That's a different story, but we're talking about, like, mortgaging, you know? It's very, very dodgy in the UK just now because of how things are. I'm so glad I moved up to this location here. Right, so here's an example. The house that I lived in before I moved up rural was a really big house, like 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, or like bathroom and a master ensuite, huge amount of land kind of stuff. Got a decent penny for it. If I was to try and sell it right now, for example, Pinksaurus, I wouldn't be able to I wouldn't be able to sell it for the price that I want to get for it or bought for it, and it would be about 50k under what I paid for it. That's what's happened to the Scottish sort of market right now on some houses. You can be very, very lucky, but if I hadn't moved, especially with how COVID hit, I would have never been able to move if I hadn't moved before COVID. That's not the long-term plan, though. You will eat bugs, live and see nothing be happy. Yeah, very true. Yeah. Don't worry about your houses. If the world keeps going the way it's going, we're all gonna be in fucking mud huts at this rate. But then obviously, again, you've got to think of this, Pinkosaurus, you've got to pay for your medical, right? Being in the US. UK, we don't, right? Unless you go private. We don't need to pay for medical. Can't get anything here with everything going up, I know. Again, it's key location. Hey, Tough, how you doing, Chief? If you're in a situation where you own property, obviously you can make money off it. It's the same, money makes money, right? But if you're in a situation where you're planning to buy your first house, I would highly suggest not buying your first house right now until you see what happens in the next 5 years. That would be my advice as somebody that owns a house and doesn't have a mortgage to pay. But if I was giving my advice to my son, who's just turned 21 yesterday, and he was looking to buy his own property, I would say don't for the next 5 years. Wait till you're like 26, 27, see how the market is, but put the money aside. Don't touch it. All the money you were going to spend to put a down payment on, put it in the bank. Don't touch it. Don't spend it on anything else, but don't put it into a property that might actually lose you money right now, or bleed you dry. UK is like Canada, we don't pay for medical. Oh, is Canada like that? You don't pay for medical in Canada? So that means you can go and get fucking medicinal weed for free. Really? Damn. Newfire did say I could stay in his basement. Newfire, I'm coming over. I'm gonna live with you, your family, your cats. I've got 2 huskies. We're coming over. I'm gonna live in the basement. I'll stream from the basement. Yeah. You don't pay for medical in Serbia either? But the third world is still third world. Wow. Yeah, but I mean, what would you class as third world medical? Oh, you're talking about that because it's classed as a third world country, you don't get third world, or you don't get first world medical care. I'm a bit confused on that one. Yeah, I know, Didors. If you got free medicinal weed. Oh my god, arthritis. Oh, guys, I've got arthritis. I need some medicinal weed. Free, please, Canada. Bag of weed. I've got arthritis in my arm. It'd be so fucking sick. Like, everyone's just baked in Canada. Top of the line Medicare, yeah. Alright, cool. I don't know, like, for me, I don't know how I would ever be able to live. Like, I originally wanted to actually move to America a few years ago. Well, nearly 10 years ago. Before Star Citizen, actually. But I'm actually glad I didn't, because I don't think I would be in a situation where, first of all, I would be able to maintain. Obviously, I would have bought property there, so that wouldn't be in the thing. It's just other things. I had back surgery 2 years ago, and the MRI alone was 3K, and I didn't pay time. So that's so good when people get that sort of information, you know? I kind of wish it was the same for electricity, right? Fucking electricity prices in the UK, Scotland this year just... Again, like, if anybody doesn't know, I last year in October, I got banned on Twitch for being very violent towards an NPC in Star Citizen. This is actually a true story. And I moved to YouTube for 6 months. Killed my Twitch channel in that process. That's why we're sort of like climbing back up, right? Because the follower count doesn't match the view count at all. And that's because I went for 6 months in YouTube. I was really, really happy in YouTube, but if it wasn't for the electricity prices going up in April, I had to come back to Twitch. Because I would have never been able to survive. I was surviving on YouTube for like paying the bills and stuff, but because they put up so much, I had to make changes. But the good thing from it is, obviously, we've got partner on YouTube, and the YouTube channel is actually doing quite well just now with the past 2 videos. And then obviously Twitch has changed a few things for like the ad incentive stuff. So when you see like the ads and stuff, I know it pisses you off, but it does massively help out on the bills each month. And again, that's just because all prices have gone up. Food wise as well, like I've definitely changed what I eat in the past like 6 months. And now like because of this bird flu stuff, like even chicken and turkey and stuff is massively going up in price in the UK. And you get smaller portion as well, like I've noticed. It's crazy. Everything else here is in Skyline. Can you explain what you did to that NPC? Yeah, I can. So we were doing a gig for Toby Decodes, right? So Toby Gaming, basically the Toby tracker that I use. So I didn't have mature mode on, and I forgot. And I get quite excited, you know, I'm an excitable character, I'm a ranty character, I'm also Scottish, so I swear quite a bit, and I use the C word. So when we had the mature mode set off for the gig, I went to SBK and got quite excited, where I took a knife and I was obviously meleeing and killing a lot of NPCs, which obviously looked like players at SBK, and I was saying, I'm going to obviously shank you to the NPC, and a lot of people reported me for being violent towards a player, and it's an NPC. So I had to, first of all, I got a permaban on Twitch, then I explained the situation. They reviewed the video footage of the VOD, and I was saying to them literally, this isn't a player, I'm just swearing at an NPC. And I got unpermanently banned, and I got banned for 30 days because obviously I was swearing quite a lot saying the C word, but as I explained, I'm Scottish. You know, C word is like in Australia, it's commonly used. And yeah, then when I came back to Twitch, they didn't give me back my subscriber button, so everyone started losing their like 30-month subscriber streak kind of thing, right? And I just rage quit Twitch and went to YouTube. Got partner on YouTube, and I was actually having a really good time because you can put the quality up to 1440 and it looks mint, absolutely mint. But then UK prices just made it impossible for me to stay on YouTube. I don't know. I guess it's because like maybe you can tell. I don't know. Or again, like if you get report bombed, You know? If you get report bombed on Twitch, you just get shut down. It's the same thing on YouTube, any platform. If you have a group of people that purposely target streamers and like 50 people report bomb, it's the same thing with like when streamers, especially I've seen, and I'm not going to drop names, but I've seen a streamer get very, very violent towards a group of players because they're killing that person in Star Citizen. He like literally crying that it's griefers and then telling everyone to go and report them, even though it's only been affected to him. And this has happened before, by the way, in Star Citizen. That shows you like the mentality that people have sometimes, where literally they can say, you know what I mean, I don't like this person killing me, I want all my viewers to go and report this individual and get them banned from the game. And it's the same thing on Twitch, it's the same thing on YouTube, it's the same thing on Instagram, anything media platform. Moist Noodle got blocked on Reddit because people didn't like him talking about PvP in the Reddit category. They got him downvoted or whatever happened. That was last year, wasn't it? Moist Noodle got literally fucking locked out of Reddit on the Star Citizen category. Just because people, you know, couldn't fucking handle Star Citizen. It's sad. It's really sad. That you literally, cancel culture can just do this to people. So yeah, that's what happened to me last year, and that's why, again, my numbers don't add up on Twitch. And we're just slowly building it back over time, which I'm happy to do. Like, I'm one of these people who likes to grind at work. Oh god, that didn't even sound right as well. I was trying to fucking make it where it didn't sound bad. But you know what I mean? I like to put effort into my work. Grind, we call it grinders, you know, or whatever, but obviously that can go on a completely different topic, right? So you're a dancer. Yes, I'm a private dancer. Who wouldn't want a bald ginger beard dancer on their table? Had a similar experience in SE, but I was neither big nor active. Like, haven't touched streaming over here. Again, it's amazing how people can get very bitter towards other. It's the same when people start, right? So there's a huge thing where a streamer will do something, and you notice that another streamer will start copying you. And that's fine. Imitation is like one of the highest forms of flattery. You should never be worried about it. But there's a lot of times where there's this, you know, people are copying each other and people freak out about it. And it's like, is it really that bad? You know, should you really care? Like, if somebody copies my stream, I'm like, alright, cool. They're low flying, they're bald, they got a ginger beard. Awesome. Wicked. Good for you. Well, 5-man was going for my bounty, killed all 5 of them, and then started turning. Oh yeah. That happens. Yeah. Again, people get really upset when their egos are busted up, right? And I'm full fault on it as well. I've had a few occasions in Star Citizen, with community, with in-game, where I've let my ego take over my normal thinking, and I've regretted those things as well. Like, sometimes I'll be like saying, oh, this guy's a full-blown cheater and blah 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 blah, and when I actually look over the footage, I was like, nah, I shouldn't have overreacted like that, you know? Is it a requirement to be good in low fly as being bald? Bold or bald? Well, you've got to remember, look at this way, Orbital. I shave my beard off. I cover myself in Vaseline. I'm the fastest motherfucker in the water, right? I'm like a torpedo. Give me flippers, I'll outswim all of you. I'm like a submarine torpedo. Dolphin, they call me in the water, right? So low flying are the same thing. I'm aerodynamic. I cut through the wind faster than anyone else. Ginger seal. When I get in the water, everyone's in danger. It's actually weird how Tarkov community to PvP losses, less personal, less personality than SE. I don't know. I think generally maybe because in Tarkov you have a lot of times where you're defeated, you sort of get into that mentality of, you know, okay, I'm not number one, I should play a bit differently and stuff like that. I mean, to be fair, we don't have a community. Like, as much as Star Citizen Spectrum and Reddit is very toxic. So here we go, Scorpius, wings closed. Booming right past me. Not sure why. But I'm out in the middle of nowhere, by the way, so this can only be a bounty hunter. Because if you look around, I'm 84 kilometers, right? I'm off scan. But fucking Scorpius just fucking tanked right over me. Wings closed. I've shown this to K Winter, the wings closed thing. It's got to be fixed. It fucking pisses me off this so massively. It's such an exploit, being able to do this. Please stream this Grease Ginger Seal Water aerobics. Alright. Right, what do you think of, does it have a gunner, chat? Do you think it's got a gunner? Well, sense of speed is definitely out the window. Do you want to see a magic trick, though? Want to see a magic trick, chat? Dead. Bye-bye, Scorpius! Fixed weapon bug on exploit? Easy clap, yeah. No arc. No. Scorpions are not magnets. You can actually flare off EM missiles, it's just people are too stupid to fucking work out the game system, that's all. You know why? Because I put 2 missiles right through its fucking cockpit, which only has 80 HP, because CIG designed the Scorpions to have 80 HP on the nose. And when you lose your cockpit, you lose your ship. And that's the magic trick. You can do it with guns as well. Sussy? No, it's just bad design, that's all. No gunner because bounty hunters became greedy recently not to share too much of the profit. I don't know if like 40k is that worth it, you know? Can you target cockpit? No, but you can put the missiles through the targeting towards the engine, so when they rotate round, you fucking eat them. That's why. I targeted engines. Wings close, you just make the missiles go right through your cockpit. And this is why people don't know this shit. They think, oh, I'll put my wings closed, I'll use my size-free guns, and I'll fucking shoot with my little exploit on. Well, that's fine. Well, I'll kill you with 2 missiles then, because you're fucking using that shit. You're allowed to use exploits? I'll put them through your cockpit then. And that's how you deal with Scorpius in atmosphere. And it pretty much happens every 90%, right? Unless somebody knows actually how to flare off EM missiles, it's how you kill Scorpius in 2 shots. You keep your wings closed? That's fine. I'll just use the mechanics as well. Decoy? Well, they can use decoy. See, so I'll tell you a secret right now. Panic button doesn't fucking work in Star Citizen. When you fire 7 flares on panic, it only counts as 1 flare. Even though you've launched 7, right? So if you want to get rid of EM missiles, rack up 7 or 8 flares on a medium-sized ship and you'll never get hit by size 1 missiles. And then if you're going to get shot by size 3, so now you have to have some knowledge over what fires size 2, what size 3 can be fired at you, you just rack up the flares even more. Or you can try Captain Burke's method, which is turning your shields off and fucking hope for the best. But without a gunner and you turn your shields off, I'm going to kill you if you're in a Scorpius. That's the difference with it. Welcome to atmosphere. Can't fucking wiggle out of your situations down here. You don't spam flares. You have to rack up the numbers. See what I'm doing right here? See that? See that? That's how you counter flares. Pre-setting numbers. Actually working out. So I'm up against a fighter. In an arrow, I'll have 4, right? I'm in a Scorpius up against a fighter. I'll set 8. And there you go. And then I'll instantly fire off. That's how you fucking get around EM missiles, by the way. Because EM missiles are not broken, chat. It's the fact that CIG have all their fucking ships with Gladius countermeasure systems on for whatever fucking reason. And that's your problem why. Because you're in a Scorpius firing off Gladius flares. So you have to over the number, man. You know? That's it. That's all the secret is behind EM missiles that everyone lacks on. And you see a lot of people doing it, especially in fight or flight. Schwang was there. You could see on Schwang's screen. Got preset number of flares. I think you even heard Avenger 1 say it. Preset the flares. And that's the difference of knowledge of game over just fucking face rolling your face on the keyboard. Panic button does not fucking work. It's an absolute shit show of a mechanic. But presetting your flares for certain missile types is how you get around it. Yeah, but if you're in a Scorpius arc, right, so look at it this way. EM missiles are not broken compared to IR. IR just doesn't fucking work as well as EM because EM tracks obviously better at higher things. Look at it this way. If you're in a Scorpius that has a Gladius countermeasure launcher, then you're not flaring off enough with 3. So you go to 6 or 7 and you flare off EM missiles if they're size 1, right? That's the secret to getting around this problem right now. Unless you're in like a Hercules. A Hercules, you see a proper flare system where it just goes and there's so many flares, right? Well, IR, right, so here's another thing, if you guys don't know this one. This is beautiful, right? So we've got IR, cross-section, and EM, right? Watch the number on IR when I afterburn forward. Right? Did you see that? Did anyone see that on Daymar? Anybody know Daymar's knowledge? There's no heat because see the heat from Daymar actually goes up when I go faster. This is Daymar heat, by the way. Watch how I go up. It goes up when I go faster. So I'm naturally able to avoid IR missiles because Daymar heat has gone up. But look at my EM. So we're gonna look here. Watch this when I afterburner. It pulses. And then when I upstrafe, it goes up higher. When you move your thrusters, you create more EM. So if you want to avoid EM missiles, stop fucking afterburning around in your fucking hurricanes and stuff. Maybe try and lower your heat down and just dodge and flare correctly. Ballista is the same thing. The problem is ballistas have a broken thing where the torpedo right now spins around, right? And I don't mean where it's going towards you and it's spinning. I'm talking about where it's vertical and it spins around like a fucking ninja star. And because of that, it has this ability to instantly change direction where it's going. And that's the problem with ballista missiles in atmosphere right now. And I've actually got clips, and I send them to CIG, where the ballista missile rolls up a fucking mountain arc and hits you from behind. So you're behind a mountain, the ballista fires a missile to the mountain, the missile fucking rolls up the hill and hits you. No joke, look at my clips, we've got it somewhere. Fresh got clapped because a missile decided to play roly-poly up a fucking hill. It didn't just explode. So yeah, ballista torps are scuffed to fuck. Also, you can point blank lock them at 50 meters. This is stupid. The thing with a ballista is everyone is one man in a ballista, right? And it should be 2 people. And it should be if you manage to get under 1,000 meters on a ballista, the gunner has to protect it, not the missile launcher, unless you point blank launch, right? But you being able to lock at 50 meters is stupid as fuck, like. Not even real life AE launchers can do this shit. Because there's safety features that prevent it from happening. They took away the 50-meter torps from ships using them. Yeah, but the ballista can still fire 50 meters though. It can point blank lock at 50 meters. And there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it unless you know how to flare off or you manage to disable it in time. Yeah, it's a homing missile, yeah. Well, it's a homing torpedo, but it behaves like a missile. Ballista missiles are scuffed, absolutely scuffed beyond belief. They just do not fly. Again, I'll go and find the clip for you guys, right? Let me find the clip. I'll show you this absolute monstrosity. And clips. Let's have a look here. That. Now we're looking for something about torpedo. I don't think it's 8 months back. Maybe it's a bit sooner. Is it Magic Torps? Oh no, Cheese Master 9000. This is it. Watch this, right? This is nuts. Absolutely nuts. So there. Fresh is going to dive behind the mountain. There's the blister there. Okay? So if you can see it. Blister's on the side. It's literally like this on the side at Jumptown Yella. And hopefully this actually changes in 318 where they fall down now. They can't stick. So there's Fresh. Fresh is behind. Watch the torp. Did you see it? I'll put it in slow motion so you can actually see it now. Right down to slow-mo. Watch the torpedo crawl up the side of the fucking mountain. Fucking exploded. Again. Watch it crawl up a... Fresh is behind. Absolutely behind. And watch it literally fucking roll up the mountain. So he's now out of sight of the blister. There it goes. Rolls into the ground. And aligns perfectly and fucking splashes him. Then we've got the other one, right? So that's... yeah, so this is... That's fucking his reaction was, what the fuck, right? Then we've got this one. I think this is the one where I get clapped. Yeah, so I'm behind the wall now. So this is me. Let me see if I can get to the point where it fires.
No.
Yeah, look. Watch this. So I'm behind the mountain this time. We want to test this out to see how it was, right? Just in case it was a fluke. I'm behind the mountain where Fresh was. Watch it fucking roll up the mountain and get me.
No, I'm...
Whee! Fucking spinning like fucking ninja stars towards you, right? It's so stupid. Ballistas are fucking scuffed beyond belief. Look at it. It's like giant sperms fucking weeing at you, right? And this is what people don't realize is that you're not, it's not because you're flaring them off and stuff, it's these motherfuckers are literally able to crawl up the walls and come for you.
No, I'm...
How stupid is that, right? And it's not from desync. It literally is these missiles do not explode off the ground. They crawl up places. Why can't space missiles do that? It's the only missile that spins around like this, like a fucking ninja star. And because of that, watch this. I think we've got another clip of Jumptown where I'm literally doing some seriously fucking dodge flying and the torpedo still gets me. Where is it here? It was supposed to be here. Where's it here? Again, this is like jump time. Not sure if it's that. Oh, I think this is it. I think this is it. Magic Torps. Yeah, so there's the blister, right? I'm gonna just put it to normal speed because we don't need it slowed down. So I'm circling the blister. I go here, right? Watch this. Watch how it's not even fired, right? It's fired. Watch my angle. Down. Round. It's literally now gone past me. And it's caught me. This is a fucking torpedo. It's not a fucking... Like, how the fuck does it fly like this? You know, this is where like ballistas are just way too fucking crazy right now. It's a ballista, yeah. Because again, look, I'm literally going round the corner. As it's fired now, so I have the height advantage. You can see the missile come out, and it's not even on radar. It's literally not on radar because it's fucking crawling somewhere to get up to me. Now it's behind me. Look at that. See that? Fucking magic. Absolute magic. It's now appeared on radar as it's literally decided to fucking 180 at these speeds and come around me, you know? Fuck, man. How the hell does a torpedo turn like that? That's because we found out that the torpedo's flying like this. So wherever it goes, it's got instant reaction to turn around. You fucking make a torpedo from a ballista, like it spins past you. Because it's spinning, it instantly fucking comes back on you and starts spinning in the direction again. They're nuts. Absolutely nuts. So I never rage now when I get hit by ballistas. Because I'm fully expecting to just get absolutely nuked by them. Unless you flare them off, and with an arrow it's about 7 or 8 flares to correctly do it. On a Scorpius it's about 12 and you will get away from a ballista. And that's just the difference in the game right now, is that a lot of the time people are just trying to panic button flare or flare individuals, like go 1 flare, 2 flare, and that doesn't work in this game. Gladius or Blade are the same. Because it's down to your EM signature. So when you're... Never go in the sort of ship that you're in, because it's always size 1 EM signature or size 2 signature, for example. But if you want to successfully, like... We were flying around in the Scorpius one day, Arc, and literally puppeteers spamming missiles at me. And I had 7 flares, and literally every time I flared them off. Not a problem. Not a problem. There is a bug where the server doesn't register your flares. That happens. But again, he was spamming EM missiles at me, and in the Scorpius I never got hit by it because I flared off. But you only have 7 times to do that. So if you don't have a gunner, like the other Scorpius did, is you use your flares to get the fuck out of there, get yourself a gunner, and use your flares to pursue and stuff. Oh, you mean the ballista? Then it's 7 or 8 on an arrow or a gladius. But even then, if the server lags, it won't matter a fucking thing. Plus the torpedoes go burr. They're just nuts, man. I don't even think I'm heading in the right direction. Shit. Oh no, I am. Okay, I am. Round to 10, but again, like I said, so what happens with the server? If the server, because we're on, if anybody doesn't know, we're on 5 FPS server tick rates. Yay! So when you flare and the server hiccups, it doesn't register that you fired flares. So you fire off 10 flares and it does nothing. That's when people are getting hit by them and they're complaining. They're like, oh, I do 7 flares and I always get hit. Yeah, because the server's hicking up and your flares are not registering 1 bit. Or it's like, oh, I'm panicking flare. Yeah, it only counts as 1 flare to the server. The server only sees it as 1 flare. Even if you launch 10 through panic. Oh, you went for... Yeah, again. Yeah. You just got to remember that the Galaxy is going to cost you a lot more money to fuel and do all that stuff with compared to the Apollo, right? But then maybe you've got a group of people that does it, fuck it. And then that's fine, yeah. The Galaxy is a really good looking ship. I just don't agree with them selling more large ships again, you know. Yeah, never use panic. Just unbind that shit right away. No, you have to launch them all at once or it doesn't work, Girl Scout. If you launch 7 flares, it doesn't work. If you do them individual. So if you go like this, and then do another one, right? 7 times, doesn't work. The game only counts it as 1 flare. You have to rack up 7 and basically drop 7 flares. That's your counter. Again, the game is very, very easy to work out. You just don't do... You gotta get around some of the broken mechanics at times. Also, where am I? Again, you always notice when I go into PvP against people, I'll rack up to 3 standard. Even if they fire an IR, then I'll just change it to 2 or even go to 1. I've literally got this on my roller on my joystick where I can roll the number up and down. And then when I'm like, I'm low flying and then I'm getting missile attacked and nothing's there, that's a torp. So I instantly fucking rack up to like 8 flares and I'm going in. I'm like, right, I'm looking for a ballista, drop my 8, drop my 8, drop my 8. And hopefully beam down, because if you guys don't know, the turret on the ballista is actually very weak. So if you can actually fucking shoot the turret of the ballista, you can stop it turning and even firing. You can slow that right down. You can also slow the shoot the wheels on a ballista and it will slow its tracking down. I want to go home to my verbals. I hate to fly with mouse and keyboard. Just save up then, friend, dude. Just save up. If you're a smoker, cut down on the cigarettes, which is not only healthier for you, like I'm just saying if you are a smoker, cut down on the cigarettes, it's better for you, and then more money for your verbals, right? I am completely spun around because we came in the wrong direction. Yeah. Lovely. I'm sticking with the Apollo. The Galaxy is a nice ship, but it doesn't fit in my lineup. Yeah. I think if I was going to do medical gameplay, it would be the Apollo over the Galaxy. For me. Because easier to run, cheaper to run, smaller profile, still a medium-sized ship or large ship kind of area where you're going to be able to warp and stuff to, and you know, go through certain gates. But here's another factor, if you don't know this, certain jump gates in the game don't allow large ships or capitals to go through. So for example, the Apollo will go through a small gate, but a Galaxy won't go through a small gate. So when CIG ever get that mechanic out, right, you may find that your Galaxy has to go the long way through more hostile space. Fucking Gladiator, you what? Oh my god, am I gonna get missile spammed here now? A fucking Gladiator. We were talking about this as well. This is where I wish this ship was an atmosphere bomber instead of a fucking torpor, right? It's going for the missile tone, right? Here we go. So it's gonna fire torps or something right now. We're gonna see probably EMs. We're gonna rack up to 5 just in case. There we go. Cross section. We're gonna just make it where there's plenty. So it's firing the torps just now, because I don't think you can actually customize the torps on it. However, he's spiking his EM lovely. Right now, lovely on the EM. So we're gonna bring this in low. And we're gonna bring this in nice and slow. And we're gonna start using return missile fire. But I want this guy to be nice and slow, so I can fucking pelt his engines. Getting towed now. And we'll bring her in for a little 2-circle defense play. Fox free on that. 2 going out. They'll curve in. And he's actually flaring off correctly. However, we're now going to slot behind. And maybe go down to 1 task force on this. They're going to do a flippy McFlippy, which slows them down even more. And we'll bring it into the vert. Because again, we don't need to lose our speed for this. We'll bring it into the vert. Now what we're going to do is bring it down. And again, keep that 2-circle defense. Bring it down. It's going to come behind us. There we go. Slow her down. It's going to go for the missile. We're going to use the ground to deflect. That's drifting to 5k. Holy shit. I'm going super slow as well. It's almost like it's backstrafing a little bit. That's it. Lovely, 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 lovely. I don't think it's got a gunner. I don't see a gunner, right? Let's quickly just mark off that just now. It's holding the torps. We don't want any weirdness with the torps. We actually go to stagger fire on this one as well. Bring her in. See how it's holding the torp lock right now? We are actually still torp locked. We'll engage our speed up a bit. Keep it low. Just in case it does have a gunner. If it has a gunner, it's going to absolutely fuck me up. There's the torp goes out. Cross section, we'll deflect. We can hear it behind us. Gonna fly past. Secondary one's coming out. Just gonna let the torps go out first before we do anything, because again, torps are dodgy as fuck at times. I'm gonna return fire. I'm gonna go for a Pioneer for proxy. Box free on the procs. And slot. Alright, we're gonna go for shooting down those wings, engines, anything there, shield's gone. This thing has a ridiculous amount of HP. But because it's not got a gunner, it's fucked. Engines are damaged, it's countermeasuring like a fucking choo-choo train. Again, welcome to Atmosphere 101, where Wiggly Wiggly does not work. Engines are probably disabled in certain areas. It's probably going to go for the warp. HP will kick in at this point. And splash Gladiator. We had to use a few amount of flares. Oh, actually, I think... Oh, no. I was going to say that. I think maybe the carcass took out one of my guns, but we're good on that one. Hey, Reckon, how you doing? Oh, sunset as well. Beautiful. Now, if that guy had a gunner in the Gladiator, I would have been in severe trouble. Why you need to start flying with gunners for the future of this game. You have an Endeavor, I don't need an Apollo? Well, wouldn't say never. Hey Warlock, how you doing? Even I last longer than that guy and I wasn't even fighting. Wiggly Wiggly. Well, again, it's trying to... when you're in certain ships, this is the thing as well, that when 4.0 comes in, as I've been saying to people, your best example of how flight is going to be is hard atmosphere. Hard atmosphere, Microtech, Hurston flying. Because you are going to be dampening even in space. So you're not going to have the wiggly wiggly rotations that you have right now in the game. You have to fly more like fighters, basically. And big ships will then have their gunners that do more damage, because you're not going to be able to, again, reverse ski at fucking max speed and all that kind of stuff. So this is why, for me, I don't do the Arena Commander gig. It's cool that people have that love for it and stuff like that, but for me, for atmosphere, low atmosphere, not space atmosphere, low atmosphere, you can't do the wiggly wiggly stuff. So inverts, keeping into circle fighting, and then out strategizing, where again you saw the Gladiator spending too much power to push up to get closer to me, and as we slip in behind, it doesn't have the afterburner to continue onwards. You slot in, you keep within the rate fight, or the one circle fighting, however you want to do it, two circle fighting, whatever you need to get the job done. But you saw there that literally that Gladiator couldn't do a goddamn thing at that stage. Now if I had a gunner, I wouldn't have been able to engage. Because whilst that I would have had to go under the belly, which would have been very, very difficult to do in atmosphere. Or because we have the dampening effect already in this, because we don't have atmosphere effects, we don't have aerodynamics and all that jazz, by the way. You just literally have dampening engines, and certain ships dampen more. This is why the Saber is so powerful in Hurston. Like, no joke, the Saber shits on Gladius, Arrow, Hornets, everything, because it has one thing that they don't, and that is one hell of a forward thrust. And that allows you to get into much better turn circle fighting than this FPS mode in space that everyone's so used to. Yeah, because it's FPS shooting at that stage arc, that's why. That's why it pisses off certain people. And eventually down the line it's not. It's going to be what you just saw there with me engaging the gladiator. That's how it's going to be in space as well. The difference is you'll have a little bit more of DOF to move around in. But because the speeds are already slow and you're already in the dampening effect, because of being under 2k, if you guys don't know, there's 3 elements of atmosphere fighting. That's why some of the fight or flight stuff pisses me off, because technically they were actually in the space mode of flying in the video game. But Atmo Esports set the height to 20 kilometers, and I don't think they understand or knew about the height ceilings. On a moon, 2k is the hardest way you're dampening down. 5k it changes, and anything above 10k you go into basically what it's like in space. On Hurston, for example, the 3 stages are much more different. It's 10k before you go into a lighter format, 20k you go more into space flying. And this is where if they had done fighter flight and they kept it as a 10k ceiling on Hurston, the fights wouldn't have gone the way the fights would have gone. It's a much different ball game. Because you don't have the ability to, you have to use more frontal speed than your strafes. Frontal speed wins in hard atmosphere. This is why the Hurricane is just disgusting in hard atmosphere, because it's so fast going forward. Banu Defender, but the Banu Defender doesn't have a proper flight system right now. But even the Arrow can be out-fought by a Saber in Hurston, because the Arrow can't deal with the 4 fucking Panthers. Oh yeah, the Saber is strong. Yeah, like, is Saber meta against meta pilots? No. But on your day-to-day sort of gaming, the Saber can hold its own really well right now. And it will hold better in the future. Gravity fighters are better than space fighters. Well, I hope that will be the case, because the Saber is one hell of a gravity fighter. And if we actually get aerodynamics, it will kick the shit out of a lot of ships. The Hornet you'll see probably stay in space because it won't be good for atmosphere. It's very bulky. This is why you'll never ever see me in space combat right now. That's why SBK changes just really, I'm not looking forward to them. I'm looking more forward to hopefully bounty hunters coming to Daymar for the race course and stuff like that, you know? Because I just love the fact that even against like sweats in atmosphere, if you can out-strategize certain your turns, you keep your airspeed going. And like for example here, we're literally cruising around in a nice 2k circle and we're holding 300 meters a second. Right now, fighters to do this sort of thing would have to afterburner to get in behind you, and you've got your whole tank to go. That's again why we teach the 2-circle defense. 2-circle defense being we stay within 2,000 meters and we fucking crack up the speed. We start getting the G's locking in, so if somebody actually chases you, you can lock them out. But if we extend up to a 5, you can see here, 400 meters a second. I'm not having to afterburner one bit. 380. And I'm not even G-locking at this stage. I have so much defense right now to get my shields up, because obviously we're close to the ground, but I'm not blacking out and I'm not using my afterburner, which I might need to use for emergency. Plus we're near the ground, which means that missile defense is a lot easier. And you can see how this defense play is just award-winning. And if somebody tries to cut the circle, the only way they can cut the circle is they have to dump their afterburner. And if you're good at countering that, which obviously I'm, you know, not the best of PvP pilots, but if I was like a sweaty AC pilot and I knew this as well, if you could counter it, you just literally have full afterburner to beam on somebody's ass and there's not a goddamn thing they can do about it. Keep the Banu Merchantman. Keep the Banu Merchantman. The Banu Merchantman will make you more money where you can then buy a Polaris down the line in game. That's the way I look at it. The Polaris only has one job, and that's to fire torpedoes, and that's it. That's it. Everything else about it, like, you know what I mean? Unless that's what you're wanting to do, then obviously you would go for Polaris. Torps and turrets, that's it, yeah. But it's not even got good turrets. The turrets are just anti-fighter flak. And then you've got the, what, 2 size 5s on the front or something like that? They'll probably go up in size, probably 2 6s or something, but... Also, yeah, I could actually go and rearm. Also, it's 4 o'clock. Yeah, I'm sorry about my time. Crap. Yeah, sorry. I didn't realize we're actually past the 3-hour mark, so yeah. I will have to get the pups out, sadly. But we'll be on tonight for the evening show with Call of Duty. But yeah, I'm out of time for Star Citizen, sadly. My larger ships are all weighted on the income cost ratio those can make. Yeah. Most of my ships are actually just for organization use. Like, I kind of look at that, I'll probably be either in a Polaris, sorry, not Polaris, a Perseus, or 600i. That's probably where I'll be. Who knows? Who knows, who knows, who knows, who knows? Hopefully, when 318 comes out, Lil Nix will be better at holding the bladder and stuff. Have a nice evening. Appreciate it, guys. Let's find somebody we can raid to. But I will be taking a break. If you guys don't know the new schedule, exclamation mark schedule. And we do now Star Says in the morning and afternoon. I then have a schedule break because obviously Puppy Nix needs to go out for peeps and all that jazz. And then we come back and literally in the evening, instead of me playing games off stream, I've kind of got into this schedule where I'm just going to play games that I play in the evening. And I don't really care about viewers, subs, that, you know what I mean? I'm just doing it for the chilling out aspect of it and stuff like that. Jace is on. Let's send you over to Jace. Alright. Right. Yeah, so we're going to send you over to Jace. And I will see you for the evening show. If you guys are into Call of Duty, playing a lot of DMZ, it's really, really cool. Fetch says, quick question. What is the best way to get a good, consistent practice fighting in the atmosphere? Most bounties are in space and being criminal. It's very difficult right now, Fetched. I mean, we've literally had 3 bounty hunters in 4 hours, right? On the same server. The best thing is don't bounce server if you can. That's my advice. It should go up in 318 though, because 318 brings hacking to only to SBK, which is in Crusader area, and Daymar has a racetrack and derelict sites, which means that if you're a criminal, there's a good chance that there'll be more people to engage and do all that jazz for 318. That would be my best guide right now. Unfortunately, it's just really, really bad when it comes to PvP for atmosphere flying right now. No one wants to do it. But maybe in the future there will be. But anyway, guys, thank you very much. I will catch you tonight. Thank you for the time. Appreciate it, guys. Have a wonderful Monday if I don't get to see you. And all that jazz. And I will see you later tonight for some Call of Duty. Enjoy Jace's stream, guys. Thank you for being here, Blasty, Spudley, Harksus, Test Battle Joe, Elmo, Spudley Fetched, or Spudley Jr. Temp, sorry. Blasty, Ramboos, Doge, everyone else, Mike. Take care, guys.